When the world's most popular game announced its shutdown, and everyone was frantically selling off their gear to cash out, I sold my house and took out a loan to top up my account. Everyone laughed at me for being an idiot, but only I knew that the exact moment the game truly shut down, the entire world would change. Every monster in the game, from the weakest zombies to the almighty demon gods, would descend upon the real world. And those who kept their game characters would inherit their in-game abilities. In my past life, because I had to face reality, I reluctantly sold my account to cash out. In the end, when the apocalypse hit, I didn't even survive half a day. On my deathbed, I made one final phone call. It was to my in-game partner, Sue Wanting. I told her I hoped we'd meet again in the next life. Farewell, Wanting. But when I opened my eyes again, I realized I had traveled back in time to before the server shut down. And right at this moment, I was on the phone with her. Sue Wanting's voice came through the speaker. What do you mean, farewell? Stop talking nonsense. So what if Fantasy Era is shutting down? At worst, we'll just play a different game together. Besides, the game is still online for another 2 weeks. I replied, I'm planning to sell my account. How about you? Not me. It probably wouldn't even sell for much right now anyway, right? Plus, I have so many precious memories in this game. I'm going to keep playing until the very last second. Hearing her exact same answer, I was finally sure. I really had traveled back in time. Seeing that I hadn't said anything for a while, Sue Wanting asked with a hint of disappointment. Why are you so quiet? You don't actually want to sell your account, do you? To her, this wasn't just a game. It was a beautiful memory, and I was the most important part of it. So, hearing that I chose to sell my account instead of staying with her until the very end, she was naturally disappointed. In my past life, she really was heartbroken over this. But when the monsters invaded, Sue Wanting, who had inherited her character's powers, still came to save me right away. It's just a pity I couldn't even survive for half a day. Thinking of this, I smiled and said to her, don't worry, not only will I keep my account, I'm going to fight by your side until the very end. And all those dungeons we haven't cleared, all those places we haven't explored, I'm going to take you through all of them. Really? Then it's a promise. Yeah, it's a promise. I'm going to bed now. You should sleep early too. Remember to carry me tomorrow? After that sweet promise, I hung up the phone. I then opened up the game's forums. Without exception, it was flooded with posts cursing out the developers and players selling off their gear. Scrolling through casually, I saw tons of players selling their gold. 100 million gold coins, selling for just 100,000. You have to understand, as the most popular MMO of the century, its in-game gold used to be tied 1-to-1 with real-world money. And now, it had plummeted to 1,000 to 1. Still, I knew, there was no rush to buy just yet, because the prices were going to crash even harder. I kept scrolling down, but when I spotted one specific post, my eyes lit up. The Hurricane Staff of the Mage God. Max-level artifact, the only one on the entire server, being dumped for 600,000. It was absolutely perfect for my mage class. I was just about to snatch it up, when I suddenly realized I probably couldn't afford it. But after just a second of hesitation, I made up my mind. Tomorrow, I'm selling the house. The game is going to invade reality anyway. Once the monsters descend, in front of them, any skyscraper was practically made of paper. So, I immediately contacted a real estate agent. Since my apartment was in a top school district, the moment I put it on the market, a buyer reached out almost instantly. 3 million, paid in full. But with drafting the contract and settling the agency fees, the deal wouldn't close until tomorrow at the earliest. I wasn't in a rush, though. I still had a ton of things left to do. First up, maxing out my loans. Once the monsters invade, like hell I'd be paying off any debts. While the house was still under my name, I immediately entered my property details and personal info into every major loan app I could find. They approved my credit limits in no time, and I cashed out every single cent. It came to over 1 million, but that was nowhere near enough. I tracked down a few loan sharks and used the house as collateral. That got me another 1.6 million. Once that was sorted, I gave my old classmate, Fatty Jong, a call. Before they announced the server shutdown, he was one of the biggest professional merchants in the game, Phantom Century. He had built a net worth of tens of millions in just 2.5 years. But this shutdown practically bankrupted him overnight. The moment he picked up, I cut straight to the chase. I'm calling to help you cut your losses. Let me put it this way. Can you get your hands on 1 billion gold coins? I'll buy it all at the current market price. Me? 1 billion gold coins? Are you being serious right now? Everyone's desperately looking for some sucker to dump their inventory on. Why the hell are you volunteering to be the bag holder? Don't you worry about that. Oh, and grab me a complete Mage God armor set, plus some rare and golden pet eggs. Weren't you dealing in cosmetics, too? Since those prices crashed as well, I'll take all the skins you can find. Also, I want every single equipment upgrade stone you have. I'll take as many as you can give me, all at market price. Alright, you got it. Log in and I'll mail over the gold and the pet eggs first. Few hours later, I received all the gear Fatty Jong had mailed over. He even threw in some cosmetic skins for free, which would make the perfect gift for Wan Ting. It was already pretty late by the time I finished everything. The moment I logged in, I saw a message from Su Wan Ting. Ling Feng, do you think this game is completely pointless now? You never used to log in this late. If you want to move on to another game, I'll go with you. We had been playing together for 2 years. Even though we only ever met online, we were basically soulmates. Hearing that, I just gave a soft smile and didn't waste any time. I told her to open her storage and hopped on voice chat. Join my party, meet me over at the storage, I want to show you something. After Su Wan Ting joined the party and walked over to the storage. She took one look at the massive pile of resources and gasped. So many pet eggs, and you even got the Mage God set? The reason I logged in so late today was to gather all this stuff. The market crashed, so we can finally afford all the things we couldn't buy before. I told you I'd stay by your side until the very last second of this game, so we might as well go all out. Once we get all our gear together and level up our power, I'm taking you to run the Twin Heart Lake dungeon. And then we'll hit up the Sky Palace map together. Wait, did you just say you bought gear for me, too? Don't tell me, is it the Moon Goddess set? Yup, I already have someone tracking it down for us. For now, let's not worry about anything else, and just focus on merging these pet eggs. We should be able to craft 2 mythic tier eggs. No way, getting that set has always been my dream. I can't let you pay for everything yourself. I still have some spare change, just take it for now. Right after she said that, my phone chimed with a payment notification. I opened it and saw 6 million. We've known each other for so long, but I had no idea you were secretly loaded. 6 million in spare change? What kind of crazy rich family are you from? I didn't press the issue. With Wanting's money in hand, I could finally put my bigger plans into motion. But then I thought back to my past life, right after the game merged with reality. Wanting had rushed to save me, only to get pinned down by a level 90 boss. A solo healer holding her own against a level 90 boss? That meant her gear must have been absolutely insane. Which meant, even if I hadn't stepped in to buy things for her early on, she would have ended up buying them herself anyway. So, I shot another voice message over to Big Jong. Keep buying up those pet eggs for me. I want every single one you can get your hands on. Merge them straight away as soon as you get them. Jong replied in a heartbeat. You got it, boss. Looks like you're hoarding for one hell of a haul, huh? Don't sweat it, if it's on the market, it's yours. Before long, over 500 pet eggs dropped right into my inventory. I traded them over to Wanting, and we both just started merging them back to back. In the age of fantasy, the pets were powerhouse battle companions, but they had to match their master's class to unleash their full potential. And since crafting a high-tier pet egg cost an absolute fortune, top-tier pets were incredibly rare in this game. 10 minutes later, Wanting chimed into the party chat. All done on my end. Honestly, if this were the old days, merging items worth 5 or 6 million would have my heart pounding out of my chest. But after experiencing actual death, it takes a lot more to rattle my cage. I cracked the egg open. As the blinding flash faded, a monster's low growl echoed out. Right in front of me stood a beast with a row of fan-shaped, fleshy spikes running down its back, a juvenile stegosaurus. It was an absolute tank of a pet. Once mounted, it could soak up 80% of all incoming damage. Sure, that was pretty solid, but it still didn't hit the transcendent tier. Wanting, however, looked absolutely thrilled. Oh my gosh, it's so cute, I love it. Personally, a juvenile stegosaurus was useless to me, and frankly, beneath my standards. But since Wanting loved it so much, it would make a perfect mount for her. We kept cracking open the eggs. Soon enough, a prismatic egg burst into brilliant colors right before our eyes. The blinding glare forced us to shut our eyes again. Just then, a small group of players strolled past our usually quiet warehouse spot. Yo, boss, look at that, someone's hatching a prismatic egg. Another guy chimed in. The servers are shutting down any minute now. Why the hell are they burning cash on that? Probably some loaded whale. Tag him. A split second later, a party invite popped up on my screen. But it was instantly cancelled. The moment I saw that, it clicked. We were being targeted by gold raiders. With zero real-world laws holding them back in the game, these twisted players would ruthlessly murder people and strip them of their gear. They called themselves gold farmers. When it comes to those guys, I have zero sympathy for them. I thought to myself, these gold farmers better not mess with me. Otherwise, I will absolutely hunt them down. and make them drop every single piece of gear they have. Of course, my own gear isn't fully upgraded yet, and my pets haven't been enhanced either, so I'm definitely not stepping outside the safe zone. Right then, the brilliant light faded away, and the pet Sue wanting hatched appeared right in front of us. It was actually a fusion of the vermilion bird and a phoenix, a vermilion fowl. After checking its innate skills, I was absolutely blown away. As expected of a mythic tier pet, not only does it deal insane burst damage, it can even resurrect from the ashes. Just then, a prompt popped up in our party interface. Please select the ownership of this pet. But before I could even say a word, Sue Wanting instantly gave up her claim to the vermilion fowl, and said with a warm smile. The vermilion fowl is a fire magic pet. It's an absolute perfect match for your class. You should take it. From now on, you handle the heavy damage, and I'll use my baby Stegosaurus to tank the hits for you. Seeing her sincerity, I didn't act overly polite, and simply hit accept. The very next moment, a server-wide announcement flashed across the screen. Congratulations to player Ling Feng for being blessed by the goddess of luck while hatching a pet egg. They have obtained a mythic quality, server-exclusive pet, vermilion fowl. As soon as the announcement went live, the previously dead world chat instantly blew up. Someone gasped, "Damn, that is insane. The server is literally about to shut down, and he still pulled a vermilion fowl." But others were totally skeptical. What is even the point? He will only get to enjoy it for a dozen days at most. What an absolute waste of money. Because this virtual reality game was so groundbreaking and had been running for so long. There were still quite a few dedicated players like Sue Wanting, who would stay logged in until the very last second. I couldn't be bothered with the drama in the world chat, because I still had a ton of things to do. A little while later, Fatty Jong sent me another huge batch of items. Inside was a level 100 priest gear set, tons of enhancement stones, along with rune stones, potion recipes, and more. All of these materials were incredibly important. After paying him off, I traded the priest gear straight to Sue Wanting, and told her, once we finish setting up your gear, let's go run some treasure maps. I had a buddy buy up 200 of them. We'll see if we can farm some divine beast pills or bloodline pills. Once we boost our combat power, we'll head straight for the Heavenly Palace. Sue Wanting was absolutely thrilled. Wait, really? Going to the Heavenly Palace has always been my dream. It is so insanely hard to get in. It is Fantasy Epic's most brutal dungeon. In the past, only massive whales who dropped hundreds of millions could actually clear it. But now, I have only spent a little over 1 million, and I've already got a full set of god-tier gear. Afterward, the two of us teleported away together. I had originally planned to shake off those gold farmers, but to my total surprise, they actually stalked us here. Right then, a private message from Fatty Jong popped up. Got my hands on that hurricane staff of the mage god. Plus, I snagged a pair of Sumeru storage rings that can hold 1,000 inventory slots. Do you want them? I was absolutely ecstatic. Mail them over right now. Whether in the game or out in the real world later on. These things are going to be incredibly useful. After wrapping up all these errands, I brought Sue Wanting along to clear out all the treasure maps, taking all the divine beast pills that dropped and feeding them to the vermilion bird and the baby Stegosaurus. In just a flash, they evolved into god-tier pets, easily rivaling a level 70 boss. With that taken care of, I turned to Sue Wanting and said, let's head over to Tianyue City. The reason we're going there is that it's a private territory. My plan was to buy the whole city outright. That way, when the game invades reality, we'll have our very own fortress. The 1 billion gold coins I had Fatty Jong stockpile in advance finally came in handy. After hashing things out with the former city lord, we sealed the deal for 800 million gold coins. As soon as I got my city lord privileges, the very first thing I did was make Sue Wanting my vice city lord. By the time all that was sorted, it was super late. After coaxing Sue Wanting to sleep, I let out a long sigh of relief and quickly drifted off to dreamland. Early the next morning, my ringing phone jolted me awake. I answered it, and a strange man's voice came through. Hello? Is this Mr. Ling Feng? I'm Bai Heisheng, the client who bought your house. I originally bought the place for my daughter, but she's never lived away from home before, and your city is completely new to her. So, I was hoping you wouldn't move out just yet. Please, keep living there, and help me look after my daughter. Realizing I hadn't even found a new place to crash yet anyway, I agreed on the spot. No problem at all, but deep down, I couldn't help but wonder. Trusting a total stranger with his daughter? Could she be incredibly ugly or something? But what I didn't know was, the moment Bai Heisheng hung up, his daughter, Bai Shuyi, ran straight over to Sue Wanting and cheered. Everything's set, Wanting, just wait till tomorrow, I'm gonna give Ling Feng a massive surprise. After hanging up, I didn't overthink it and went right back to sleep. But I barely got any shut-eye before a loud knocking at the door woke me up again. I groaned impatiently. I already got my takeout. You must have the wrong door. As a hardcore gamer, the delivery guy was practically the only person who ever knocked on my door. But a sweet female voice answered back. Excuse me, is this Ling Feng's place? I'm Bai Shuyi, Bai Heisheng's daughter. I was completely stunned. Didn't her dad just say she was coming tomorrow? I glanced at the clock. 10 p.m. Good grief, she showed up in the middle of the night? I quickly opened the door, but the person standing there wasn't some ugly dinosaur at all. She was an absolute knockout. Long, straight black hair, flawless features, and a body straight out of a Korean manhwa. Seeing my job practically on the floor, Bai Shuyi got a little annoyed. She muttered in her head, I can't believe Su wanting stopped playing games with me, just for a guy like this? I finally snapped out of it and quickly invited her inside. Smiling awkwardly, I asked, it's so late. How do you even get here? Did you drive? Bai Shuyi looked around the place and casually replied, yup. Drove here all by myself. My eyes lit up instantly. A family that drops 3 million in cash for a house without blinking? Her car has got to be totally sick. This is property we can mortgage for cash. Right now, the more money we have, the better. As I was figuring things out, Bai Shuyi suddenly asked, are you still playing Phantom Century? Not just playing it, I'm staying logged in until the very last second before the servers shut down. What a coincidence. That's exactly what I'm planning to do. The moment we started talking about the game, we instantly clicked. All the awkwardness completely vanished. Bai Shuyi laughed and said, I'm a level 100 warrior. One day, I'll be like a reincarnated Valkyrie. I chuckled, well, since you're still playing, wanna run a dungeon with us? I'm pretty confident we can get the world first clear on the new one. The rewards are super generous. Bai Shuyi sized me up with a dismissive look. The game is shutting down soon. What's the point of getting rewards now? Then, she suddenly changed the subject. Ling Feng, do you really not remember me? From the game? I'm Little Birdie. I froze for a second. Then it suddenly hit me. Oh, wow. I finally remembered, back when we first started playing Phantom Century, I was still a total noob. I met Su Wanting during a co-op dungeon run. There was another girl in our party back then, and that was Little Birdie. She and Su Wanting played together all the way up to level 50. Later on, Little Birdie turned into a massive whale player who absolutely loved PvP battles. One time, after getting into a massive fight with a smaller guild, she didn't want to drag me and Su Wanting into the mess. So, she voluntarily left our party and joined the Snowdrift Guild. I heard she even worked her way up to becoming an elder there. I always assumed she was just some quiet little girl in real life. But I never expected her to be completely different in person. I guess you really can't judge a book by its game ID. After joking around with Bai Shuyi for a bit, I went back to my room to rest. Since we used to be teammates in the game, hanging out now didn't feel awkward at all. But then, a thought suddenly hit me. Given how close she is with Su Wanting, didn't Su Wanting already know about me selling my house? I quickly shot Su Wanting a text. You knew everything, didn't you? About 10 minutes later, Su Wanting texted back. I was just taking a shower. Shuyi made it to your place, right? So, how is it? Having such a gorgeous girl stay with you. Are you super happy and surprised? I immediately typed back. More like traumatized. No wonder you were acting so hesitant when you logged off today. You already knew everything going on with me. Su Wanting replied almost instantly. Well, duh. What did you expect? When I found out you actually sold your house just for my dream, I thought you were such an idiot. But, I really loved it. She added a little shy emoji at the end. I teased her back. Oh, so that's why you handed over your entire secret stash to me without a second thought? Seeing Su Wanting's message made me breathe a massive sigh of relief. We ended up chatting happily for a while, even though we were just an in-game couple, and had never met in real life, spending day and night together for years. Had made us feel exactly like a real-life couple. I told her, I can always earn the money back for a real-life house later. Heck, when we get married in the future, I'll buy you an even bigger and better one. Right now, I just want to make you happy. I want to be by your side until the very end of the game. I know the server shutting down is really breaking your heart. I just didn't show it. Still, my words left Su Wanting completely touched. Even though I was just making empty promises, girls totally fall for that kind of thing. Not to mention, I even sold my house just to play the game with her. She replied, what should I do? You've completely melted my heart. We chatted for a bit, and then I told her I was going to sleep. But Su Wanting was too happy to sleep, so she pulled Bai Shuyi into a late night chat. She even blabbed about how I sold my house to play the game with her. To any normal person, selling a house for a game that's about to shut down is absolutely insane. but to a wealthy young girl like her, it was without a doubt the most romantic thing ever. It just screamed true love. Even Bai Shuyi, who usually couldn't care less about guys, couldn't help but tease. With such an amazing boyfriend, you won't even need me around anymore, wanting. There was a slight hint of jealousy in her voice. However, right after her chat with Su Wanting ended, Bai Shuyi immediately opened another chat. The contact name on the screen clearly read, Guild Master. Bai Shuyi typed, Guild Master, I figured it out. Ling Feng doesn't know any inside information. The only reason he's dumping so much money into the game is because his in-game partner, my good friend, can't bear to let this game go. She wants to explore every corner of the map before the servers close. The Guild Master replied, Good work, Shuyi. Try to fish some more information out of him. Keep me updated the moment you hear anything. Bai Shuyi answered, Don't worry, Guild Master. I'm going to get some sleep now. With that, she locked her phone. After driving for hours, she was already dead on her feet. She passed out the second her head hit the pillow. Meanwhile, on my end, I couldn't sleep at all. Because tomorrow, Fantasy Epic is going to release the official announcement, confirming the server shutdown once and for all. When that happens, in-game prices will hit rock bottom. I need to hurry up and use Bai Shuyi's luxury card to secure another chunk of cash. And I can't let anyone catch on to what I'm doing. After all the crazy moves I've pulled lately, I've definitely got a target on my back from certain players in the game. Fast forward to 8 in the morning. Sunlight spilled into the living room. Ling Feng had just slid breakfast over to his roommate, Bai Shuyi. When the official website dropped the exact death sentence announcement that would leave players worldwide gasping for air. The content of the notice was utterly shameless. The developers claimed that the game's core server, the Starstone, was an object from outer space, and its energy was now fully depleted. Not only did they refuse to offer any kind of compensation, but they also made up some empty promise about developing an Earth version within 5 years. This was basically a massive slap in the face, declaring that the accounts and god-tier gear players had poured their hearts into were now nothing more than worthless digital trash. The official website and forums blew up instantly. Players who couldn't handle the blow launched a massive campaign to destroy their own accounts in protest. They started smashing their legendary weapons and burning through their precious materials, desperately trying to send a message to the developers. But in the eyes of the reincarnated Ling Feng, this abandoned data would become life-saving, god-tier artifacts in just half a month. Right now was the absolute perfect time to reap the harvest. Ling Feng immediately dialed his childhood buddy, Zhang Chunlin. By this point, the in-game gold market had completely crashed. 100 million gold coins were going for a mere 1,000 bucks. Suppressing his wild excitement, Ling Feng gave a cool, focused order. Fatty Zhang, start buying. Grab 100 billion gold coins for me first. Buy as much as you can get your hands on. I want every single piece of top-tier crafting material out there. Bundle up all the rare items at the absolute lowest price. Faced with Zhang Chunlin's desperate begging for inside info, Ling Feng just gave a calm piece of advice. There is no inside info. But if you trust me, then hold onto your account and hoard as many life-saving items as you can. After finishing the call, Ling Feng watched his screen fill up with toxic rants and videos of players trashing their accounts. A cold smirk crossed his lips as he finally cut the line with Zhang Chunlin. Looking up, he realized Zi Shuyi was staring dead at him. His crazy talk just now about spending tens of millions to buy out everything had clearly reached her ears, word for word. Right now, Ling Feng knew very well that his bizarre behavior had already drawn the attention of various factions. Especially the woman standing right in front of him, an elder of the Snowdrift Guild. Even though Zi Shuyi was an old friend, and Su Wanting's best friend in real life, she just couldn't wrap her head around Ling Feng's logic. Why would any sane guy, on the exact same day the game announced its shutdown, sell his house and take out loans just to dump money into a dying virtual world? In her eyes, Ling Feng was either completely insane, or his brain was fried by some weird obsession. She looked him dead in the eye, her voice laced with dead seriousness and utter confusion. Ling Feng, tell me the truth, are you mixed up in some kind of illegal, shady business? Or are you doing this just to cling on to those few memories with Su Wanting in the game? And planning to throw your entire life away? Ling Feng didn't even try to explain. He just casually lied, saying he was betting that the developers would eventually cave to the pressure and compensate the players. It was an excuse full of holes. And Zi Shuyi didn't buy a single word of it, but looking at the absolute resolve on his face, she actually felt a twinge of pity. If you really lose everything you have, and end up starving on the streets, Zi Shuyi let out a heavy sigh, her tone softening, for old time's sake, since we fought side by side. Can at least make sure you get a hot meal. She even promised that, if Ling Feng really hit rock bottom, she would go to the Su family and help him borrow money to get back on his feet. Ling Feng felt a slight tug at his heartstrings. He looked at the fierce, loyal woman in front of him, but couldn't help thinking to himself, you silly girl. In half a month, all this cash won't even be worth toilet paper. Every single material I'm hoarding right now is our only ticket to surviving the apocalypse. After sending off a highly suspicious Zi Shuyi, I sat right back down at my computer. Although I had already left the real-world supply hoarding to Zhang Chunlin, I still had an even more ridiculously expensive and completely insane plan inside the fantasy-era game. I headed straight for the recruitment hall in the main city. Standing there were 4 top-tier NPCs who had been totally ignored by the entire server. Master Blacksmith Duan Zushin, Master Alchemist Yao Linglong, Master of Formations Kui Shan, and Master Tailor Lin Chao Chao. In the world of fantasy era, these 4 were the absolute pinnacle of crafting professions. But their recruitment conditions were brutally strict. Not only did they demand mountains of gold, they also required an endless supply of rare materials. Even before the shutdown announcement came out, not a single guild was willing to fund these 4 massive money pits. And now that the game was shutting down, everyone was busy firing their NPCs to recoup whatever cash they could. To the average player, these 4 were nothing more than high-level code about to be wiped out, just total, absolute junk data. But I, Ling Feng, know exactly what's coming. In half a month, these NPCs will be my absolute foundation in the apocalypse. Duan Zhu Tian can forge divine weapons, and Yao Ling Long can brew miracle elixirs that bring the dead back to life. With them around, my Sky Moon City will possess the one and only top-tier industrial system on the blue planet. Without a single ounce of hesitation, I transferred a staggering 500 million gold coins, signing them to lifetime contracts. Instantly, a server-wide system announcement flooded the screen. Congratulations to player Ling Feng for successfully recruiting the 4 great hidden grandmasters. The world channel fell dead silent, but then erupted into absolute mockery. Does Ling Feng have money to burn? 500 million for some NPCs he can't even take with him. Is he planning to go down with the game? I am dying of laughter. I watched the screen fill up with curses and ridicule, but felt absolutely nothing. Zhang Chunlin moved even faster than I expected. In just a few short hours, the first batch of 10 billion gold coins was deposited into my account. Over at the Fantasy Era trading post, the screen was flooded with desperate rock-bottom prices. Normally, Deep Sea Mithril and Crimson Flame Adamantine were incredibly rare, but now they were piled up like trash on the street. With nobody buying them, I gave Zhang Chunlin an absolute order. Buy it all, and not just with gold coins. All the top-tier crafting materials, beast souls, and rare treasures. Buy up every single thing you can find. On the other end of the line, Zhang Chunlin's hands were shaking. He just could not wrap his head around why I was throwing 10 million in cold hard cash into a dying game. Ling Feng, give it to me straight, man. Is the dev team secretly planning to carry over the data? Because otherwise, pulling a stunt like this, we are both going to be sleeping in cardboard boxes under a bridge tomorrow. Hearing the uncertainty in his voice, I felt a wave of emotion. He was my best friend since childhood, and I really wanted to save him, but how much he would actually believe was entirely up to fate. I did not tell him the truth about the apocalypse. I just kept my voice calm and said, there is no inside scoop. But I strongly suggest you gear up your own account too. Stock up on as many high-tier potions and instant mana restores as you can. Trust me, that will mean a hell of a lot more than the numbers in your bank account. Zhang Chunlin went dead silent. Finally, he gritted his teeth and just said, okay. I hung up the phone. As I watched my inventory rapidly fill up with top-tier resources, the blueprint for Sky Moon City finally became crystal clear in my mind. Right now, these players are too busy mocking me for holding the bag, but they have no idea. In half a month, when the dimensions overlap, all these materials they tossed aside like garbage are going to become the only hard currency in the new world that can buy you a second chance at life. Armed with the 10 billion in supplies Zhang Chunlin had swept up, I brought the 4 great grandmasters back to Sky Moon City. Now, everything was perfectly in place. It was finally time for my Mage God gear set to undergo its true evolution. In the fantasy era, upgrading gear was a complete bottomless pit. After reaching plus 12, every single upgrade had a success rate so low it would make you sick. And the moment it failed, the gear was completely destroyed. That was exactly why almost nobody on the entire server dared to push for high-level upgrades. But I had Forge Master Duan Zhu Tian leading the charge, plus the fail-stacking upgrade secrets I brought back from my previous life. As sparks started flying off the anvil, the system notifications began firing off like a machine gun across my screen. plus 13, success, plus 15, success. The golden light almost blinded the bystanders. When the last eternal crystal shattered, a streak of dark golden lightning tore across the sky. Very first plus 18 mage god armor set in the entire server was officially born. I opened the stat panel and took a look. Even as someone who was reborn, I broke out in a cold sweat. My magic attack power shot straight up to 78,000. My movement speed was so fast it left afterimages. These kinds of stats had completely broken the game's balance. So-called top-tier players, or gold medal guilds were nothing but dust I could wipe out with a flick of my wrist. Su Wanting stood beside me, completely dumbfounded. She even asked me, a little worried, "Ling Feng, you stacked your stats this high. Won't the system think you're hacking and ban your account?" I smiled faintly, rubbed her head, and said, "Don't worry. The operating company is too busy dealing with their own mess right now. Nobody is managing this. Besides, I'm not doing this just to be a king in a game, but so that when the monsters descend in half a month, I'll have the absolute power to protect you in that hellish apocalypse. And now, the god tier gear is complete. It's time to head to the South Heaven Gate and take back my first clear reward." Half an hour later, by now, the battle inside the South Heaven Gate dungeon had reached a fever pitch. Ling Feng and Vermilion Bird coordinated their damage output, while Stegosaurus barely held off the pressure at the front. As the team's healer, Su Wanting's holy light of healing never stopped for a single moment. She was the only guarantee keeping the entire team from wiping. Ling Feng commanded Su Wanting calmly, only pulled 2 giant ape generals at a time. Absolutely no more than 3. Because these elite mobs have a bizarre skill, like monkeys plucking their hairs. Once they take massive area of effect damage, they will instantly summon a massive sea of giant ape fighters. Even though Ling Feng was now decked out in god tier gear, getting dragged into an endless mob wave would put the 50-minute first clear time limit in serious jeopardy. 10 minutes later, the effects of the storm force field and scorching earth faded away. The corpses of the giant apes were already piled up like mountains. Ling Feng and Su Wanting's levels had also both soared to level 102, but there were still 3,000 regular mobs left on the field. Without their wide-range crowd control skills, their efficiency plummeted. Ling Feng made a split-second decision. Clear out the elite mobs first. The remaining 12 giant ape generals became their targets to take down one by one. Stegosaurus steadily held the aggro. Ling Feng chained wind blades with wind sand swallows to inflict a blind effect. In just 5 seconds, he unleashed a crazy 130,000 damage. Paired with Vermilion Bird's chain flames, they wiped it out instantly. After 10 minutes of kiting around the map, all the elite mobs were finally cleared. An earth-shattering roar finally echoed from the center of the map. It was the dungeon's final boss, the giant ape king, bearing the title of Battle God. Following its furious roar, the surviving mobs seemed to fall into a frenzy, completely ignoring Ling Feng's attacks and madly rushing toward their king. Su Wanting was a little worried. The giant ape king's attack power is up to 68,000. Stegosaurus probably won't be able to tank it. Ling Feng's eyes were resolute. Even if he can't tank it, he has to. If worse comes to worst, I'll tank it myself. The battle fully erupted at the 35-minute mark. The storm force field blanketed the center battlefield once again. Ling Feng and Vermilion Bird's damage slammed into the giant ape king like a torrential downpour. When the giant ape king's health dropped to 70%, it threw a berserk punch. A massive shockwave struck, and Ling Feng's health instantly evaporated by 40%. The entire team was pushed to the absolute brink of survival. That earth-shattering punch from the giant ape king completely smashed the rhythm of the entire battlefield. Looking at his health bar, which was now at less than half, Ling Feng's heart leapt into his throat. This battle god title was definitely well-deserved. This kind of indiscriminate, full-screen AoE damage was simply an overwhelming, god-tier strike at their current stage. Wanting, don't worry about me, keep the sword dragon alive first. Ling Feng roared. By now, fine beads of sweat had formed on Su Wanting's forehead, and the staff in her hands was waving so fast it was almost a blur. As their frontline tank, the sword dragon bore the full, head-on fury of the giant ape king. Its health bar was dropping like water from a leaking bucket. Even though Su Wanting's healing output was absolutely incredible, under this level of sheer devastation, the sword dragon's pseudo-transcendent defense was teetering on the edge of collapse. The giant ape king's health continued to plummet, 50%, 30%, every time its health dropped by a chunk. It would roar frantically and summon hundreds, even thousands, of giant ape warriors. The entire central battlefield was now swarming with a dense horde of apes, and the battle had reached an incredibly brutal climax. Just as the giant ape king's health dropped below 20%, entering its final enraged state. It raised its mountain-like fists high into the air, aiming straight for the vermilion bird and the sword dragon holding the front line. Boom! After a massive, deafening explosion, dust filled the sky. Taking the brunt of the attack, the sword dragon let out a miserable wail. As its massive body turned into a flash of white light and vanished from the spot. It had been forcefully knocked back into the pet space. The vermilion bird had it even worse. Under that tremendous, bone-crushing physical damage, its health bar was instantly wiped out. Due to the extreme heat, its entire body directly exploded into a ball of dark red fire. Vermilion bird, Su Wanting let out a shocked cry, her eyes instantly welling up with tears. If any spectating players had seen this scene, they would probably think that Ling Feng's dream of getting the first clear was completely shattered. But at that very moment, the corners of Ling Feng's mouth curled up into a cold, calculated smirk. Because this was exactly the opportunity he had been waiting for. Amidst the sky full of glowing ashes, a fist-sized, crystal-clear red egg emerged right in the center of the roaring flames. It frantically absorbed the surrounding fire element, and the system notification rang out like a clap of thunder. Divine Beast Bloodline detected. Vermilion Bird has triggered its hidden skill. In an instant, a terrifying, overwhelming pressure swept across the entire battlefield. The originally shattered fireball suddenly expanded. A newborn vermilion bird, twice as large as before, burst out of its shell with wings burning in pure gold fire. Its stats were completely maxed out. Its damage was doubled, and its magic bonus blasted straight past the 80,000 mark. The reborn vermilion bird let out a crisp, piercing phoenix cry, and a blast of golden true fire surged out from its beak. It instantly vaporized the swarming mobs and blasted directly into the giant ape king's chest. Ling Feng wasn't idling either. His eyes were completely bloodshot, and taking advantage of the split second the boss was stunned by the Rebirth's aftershock, he poured every ounce of his mana into his staff. A final, empowered barrage of wind blades tore through the air, piercing straight through the giant ape king's throat. With a furious, unwilling roar, this colossal beast that called itself the battle god crashed heavily to the ground. The server-wide announcement chimed exactly on time. Congratulations to players Dawn in the Woodses and Starlight in Dreams for forming a team and claiming the top spot with a time of 43 minutes and 52 seconds. Earning the very first clear of the South Heaven Gate dungeon, rewarded with 100 times experience points. Ling Feng let out a long sigh of relief, looking at his level skyrocketing all the way to 113. He knew this was only the beginning of his journey on the eve of this apocalypse. The very first step to establishing absolute dominance. And while Ling Feng and Su Wanting were busy playing the cute couple and farming monsters in the South Heaven Gate dungeon, the respawn point over in the main city of Azure Skies completely blew up. A cute little streamer named Ling Xiaoya was practically in tears, posting online to complain. She had just hit level 30 when a bunch of gold farmers robbed her blind. Even the power leveler she paid good money for got stripped of all their gear. Meanwhile, those exact same thugs, going by the names Ghost Room, Psycho, and Night Ninja, were currently lurking right outside Sky Moon City. They had originally planned to ambush Ling Feng, but since he was taking forever to leave the dungeon, they had no choice but to turn around, sweep the map, and bully newbies just to scrape together $200 or $300 of hard-earned cash a day. Back inside the dungeon, Ling Feng didn't give a single damn about those pathetic little clowns. He was too busy leading Su Wanting on a crazy leveling spree, totally exploiting the dungeon's mechanics. You see, the giant ape general would just keep summoning more warlords. It was basically a natural grinding paradise. After 2 solid hours of high-intensity monster farming, Ling Feng and Su Wanting's levels had skyrocketed all the way up to 115. And as for the vermilion bird and the stegosaurus, they straight up maxed out at 120. After leaving the dungeon with a massive haul, the two of them logged off to grab some lunch. But right before logging off, Ling Feng made a quick trip back to Sky Moon City and dropped another order for 1,000 sets of handcrafted gear. His strategy was crystal clear. Getting top-tier 9-star gear is incredibly rare and based purely on luck. But you can extract max stat affixes from a massive pile of crafted gear, and then, using the materials bought up by Zhang Chunlin. Those heavenly crafting crystals, you can transfer those stats right onto trash-tier 9-star gear. He was going to personally mass-produce god-tier equipment. Meanwhile, in the living room, his roommate, Zi Shuyi, passed along a message that guild leader Snow Foam wanted to chat. Ling Feng was the one cooking lunch today. Years of roughing it as an orphan had turned him into an absolute master in the kitchen. As Zi Shuyi stuffed her face, she playfully teased him. "Oh man, Wanting is in for such a treat living with you." After lunch, Ling Feng logged back in and accepted Snow Foam's friend request. This top-ranking female guild leader had incredibly high emotional intelligence. Instead of throwing her weight around, she actually asked for Ling Feng's opinion on how the game's compensation should be handled. Ling Feng gave her a rather vague piece of advice: just hold on to your accounts. In the end, Snowfoam didn't just agree to let Zi Shuyi join Ling Feng's party, she even went ahead and applied to join it herself. Ling Feng was more than happy to welcome her. Right around then, a massive care package from Zhang Chunlin popped up in his mailbox. 1,000 heavenly crafting crystals, priced at 80,000 bucks, and 100 dazzling pet eggs, slapped with a price tag of 100,000 bucks. Ling Feng didn't even blink. He instantly paid the 1.3 million total. Zhang Chunlin immediately fired off a message to complain, saying that Yi Tenglong was still trashing Ling Feng in the class group chat. It pissed him off so much that he rage quit the group on the spot and proudly declared Ling Feng as his big boss. Ling Feng just chuckled and told him to keep driving the prices down and completely monopolize the market. Looking at those 100 dazzling pet eggs, Ling Feng had zero intention of letting them go to waste. He swung by the city lord's mansion and hired a massive crew of beast tamers. He was going to raise every single one of these pets. Before the game actually merged with reality, he was going to build an unstoppable beast battalion that would absolutely crush everything in its path. In the world of Fantasy Age, a normal player could only bring 3 pets into battle. But if you boosted your spirit stats using the beast taming arts, you could theoretically control hundreds of them. And the best part? When a pet merges with its master, it can give you up to a 45% boost to all your stats. Ling Feng dropped a staggering 60 million gold coins in Sky Moon City just to establish his own spirit beast base, hiring 30 top-tier tamers. Then, he went on an absolute egg-hatching rampage. He cracked open all 100 dazzling eggs in a single breath. Sure, he didn't pull any mythic tiers, but he still scored 6 legendary and 4 epic pets. Ling Feng stashed all the perfect quality pets away in the base to be raised, and officially soulbound every single one of them to himself. Right after that, he carefully handpicked 3 epic tier pets to give to Su Wanting. This lineup included a tank, a warrior, and a mage, completely fixing her biggest weakness, her lack of damage when playing solo. As for himself, Ling Feng picked out 2 godly pets that were perfect for survival and crowd control. One was a snow maiden, packing crazy high magic damage and insane crowd control. She had a life-saving freezing ability and complete immunity to all negative status effects. The other one was a flying mouse, an assassin pet with absolutely terrifying movement speed and stealth. Once merged, it would let Ling Feng, a wind mage, literally become as fast and elusive as the wind itself. With the pets finally sorted out, Ling Feng rolled up his sleeves and started appraising those 2,000 sets of level 100 handcrafted gear. After over half an hour of grinding, luck finally exploded, dropping 8 9-star crafting molds. Although the base stats left a lot to be desired, Ling Feng used heavenly crafting crystals to completely max out the stat rolls. He personally forged the Red Moon Belt and Priestess Cloak for Su Wanting, with absolutely every single stat maxed out. Her healing output immediately shot up by 30%, instantly giving Su Wanting her absolute endgame priest gear. Ling Feng also custom-tailored the Windrunner belt and fantasy cloak for himself. After upgrading everything to plus 18 and equipping it all, Ling Feng's level 115 stat sheet was absolutely terrifying. His magic attack skyrocketed to 79,000, and his movement speed surged to 34.2 yards per second. With the gear buffs, all his skill levels hit level 13. Stats like these wouldn't lose out even when compared to a pure fire mage. Just then, Su Wanting logged back in. Ling Feng handed the god tier gear and the pet over to her. As the two of them got ready to keep digging treasure maps and power leveling their pets, Su Wanting asked softly, "Once we get them to level 100, could you take me for a stroll around the Heavenly Palace?" Ling Feng agreed with a fond smile, but surprises always seem to pop up when you least expect them. While digging through 500 premium treasure maps, aside from 10 eternal crystals, Ling Feng actually dug up a torn page of the God-Slaying Array. This was a Tier 9 city defense formation capable of trapping and killing literal gods. Ling Feng knew exactly how immense its strategic value was. He immediately contacted Zhang Chunlin, issuing an absolute, non-negotiable order. Buy up the remaining pages at any cost. He had a gut feeling that this God-Slaying Array might just become Tianyue City's ultimate trump card in the future. Wrapping up a full day of grinding, Ling Feng was just about to log off and get some rest. Then, a knock came at his door. His roommate, Bai Shuyi, asked if Ling Feng could go with her to the campus tomorrow to check out the layout. In Bai Shuyi's eyes, this was just a totally normal favor between roommates. After all, she had even agreed to lend Ling Feng some money before. However, The reborn Ling Feng could only sneer internally. Go to class? On the very eve of the apocalypse, when modern firearms wouldn't even dent a level 80 black dragon, and human technology was about to be ripped apart by otherworldly monsters. Going to school was an absolute waste of his life. He knew all too well that only the magic from the game could stand against the impending doom. So, right in front of Bai Shuyi, Ling Feng directly called their homeroom teacher and asked for a 3-day leave of absence. He even boldly declared, if he was ever going back to school, it would only be after the game invaded reality. Bright and early the next morning, April 16th, only 12 days left until the apocalypse descended, Ling Feng took inventory of his assets. Inside Tianyue City, he had stockpiled 100 warehouses full of top-tier resources. He had over 90 high-tier pets, along with the Tianyue Knights, warriors, and mages, 3 massive NPC legions. You could say his in-game preparations had already reached absolute perfection. His next goal was just one thing: clear the brand new dungeon. Max out all his pet gear. Once Ling Feng logged in, he hopped straight into Su Wanting's party. Shuimo and little birdie Bai Shuyi had already been waiting in the group for quite a while. Just as they were waiting for the final member, Zhang Chunlin, to log on, Ling Feng finally found out from him that their real-life class group chat had completely blown up. Their homeroom teacher had called Ling Feng out publicly for constantly ditching class, and his old rival, Yi Tenglong, was using the chance to ruthlessly mock him. He was even threatening to report him to the academic affairs office. Ling Feng was just going to laugh it off, but then he noticed that the usually meek IT guy, Zhang Chunlin, had turned into an absolute keyboard warrior in the chat. He was single-handedly flaming the whole group, even when facing Yi Tenglong's threats about his mobster older brother. Faced with the threat of physical violence, Zhang Chunlin didn't back down at all. Instead, he clashed right back at him. Oh, you've got mobster brothers? Well, your daddy here has an army of 3,000 keyboard warriors. Piss me off, and I'll send you and your bros straight to the national headlines right now. You damn snake. Ling Feng felt a sudden warmth in his chest. This childhood bro, even when Ling Feng was on the verge of bankruptcy, never tried to rip him off for a single cent. And now, he was fiercely standing up for him. He truly was a brother you could trust with your life. As for that guy, Yi Tenglong, Ling Feng didn't even bat an eyelid. In his past life's memories, Yi Tenglong was among the very first batch of cowards to sell his account and run away from the game. Just wait until the dimensions merge in 12 days. These so-called local thugs and rich boys wouldn't even amount to dirt in front of Ling Feng, who wielded supernatural powers. They wouldn't even be considered ants. A short while later, Zhang Chunlin logged on, and the 5-man party was finally assembled. Their target was the brand new Heavenly Palace dungeon. This newly released raid was called Chaos in the Heavenly Palace, and its lore was absolutely massive. It told the tragic story of the Heavenly Palace's downfall. The dungeon was a wild mix of Eastern and Western fantasy, featuring both the Southern Heavenly Gate and the 12 divine temples. It was completely tangled up in a web of divine factions, all plotting against each other. And this time, the Great Ape King, who used to get endlessly farmed in the Southern Heavenly Gate raid, was making a comeback. He had been buffed all the way up to level 120. Boasting 2 million HP, his attack power was high enough to instantly one-shot Ling Feng. On top of that, there were 11 demon bosses, including the Balrog and the Hydra, teaming up to swarm them. The sheer scale of it was mind-blowing. With the 5-man squad fully set up, Guildmaster Shui Mo suggested they run the normal difficulty first to get a feel for it. Ling Feng was totally down with that. After all, securing the first clear on normal still dropped a supreme treasure box reward. At this point, their party composition was basically top tier in the entire server. The number 1 wind mage, Ling Feng, the number 1 priest, Su Wanting, the server's number 3 warrior, Bai Shuyi, also known as Little Bird, and the hidden class elementalist, Shui Mo. Only his childhood best friend, Zhang Chunlin, was lagging behind a bit. As a knight, his full set of 9-star crafted gear was barely worth $1 million in total. But faced with the terrifying DPS from Ling Feng and his divine beast, the Vermilion Bird, that wasn't an issue at all. They completely steamrolled their way through the normal difficulty. The Vermilion Bird didn't just show off its insanely high AI, it actually pumped out 26% of the entire team's total damage. That dealt a massive blow to Bai Shuyi's ego. As a top-tier warrior, her damage output was somehow losing to a freaking pet. She immediately swore out loud that she would buy 10,000 chroma eggs just to hatch an even stronger divine beast. Even though Zhang Chunlin sighed about how influencers deleting and trashing their accounts was causing a massive market crash right now, Bai Shuyi and Su Wanting were just pure gamers at heart. They only cared about having an epic time. Right after that, the squad cranked it up to hard difficulty. Ling Feng went full glass cannon, leading the team on a blazing speedrun through the dungeon. While everyone else was busy clearing trash mobs, Bai Shuyi was actually cracking eggs open mid-battle. Half an hour later, right in front of the level 120 Great Ape King, a brilliant ray of divine light suddenly blasted down from the heavens. Bai Shuyi had actually managed to hatch a mythic tier pet, the Heavenly Dog. When they checked out its stats, the entire squad completely lost their minds. It had an overall rating of SS+. Its physical attack scaling was off the charts, and it even came with Indomitable Spirit, Ancient Bloodline, and Frenzied Devour, 3 absolutely broken skills. For every 1% of health it lost, its attack and defense would spike. It even had a built-in 50% max HP boost, and a 30% lifesteal effect. This thing was practically the ultimate, invincible Warhound custom made for a melee god. But hilariously enough, Bai Shuyi's very first reaction to seeing this godly beast was total disgust. Because she had been bitten by a dog as a kid, she was completely traumatized by them. Ling Feng joked about swapping it for a flying squirrel, which only resulted in an even more miserable shriek from Bai Shuyi. Because she's terrified of mice too, even though it caused a bit of a laugh. With 2 first clears in the bag, Ling Feng already had 2 supreme treasure boxes in his hands. Seeing Bai Shuyi's amazing luck, Shui Mo was tempted too. She guessed that since a bunch of influencers were deleting their accounts and trashing their eggs, the drop rate for god-tier pets had massively spiked. In high spirits, Ling Feng announced, "Let's keep going. Today, we're grinding until we get 8 supreme treasure boxes. We're putting together a full set of god-tier pet gear." Who would have thought that a terrifying, top-tier dungeon would actually turn into this little squad's personal egg-hatching playground? Under Ling Feng's lead, the group effortlessly swept through the hard and nightmare difficulties. The number of supreme treasure boxes piling up in their inventory just kept growing. Zhang Chunlin got jealous and joined the egg-cracking hype too, but luck clearly wasn't on his side. He cracked open 50 of them and only got 1 legendary. He was so heartbroken he wailed, "I am never spending money on this again." On the flip side, Shui Mo and Bai Shuyi, those 2 rich girls, took advantage of the rock-bottom item prices before the server shut down, and frantically mailed over a few thousand colorful eggs to keep gambling. Meanwhile, in the age of fantasy, resources were burning at a shocking rate. The entire player base was desperately blowing through 20 years of hoarded wealth. Ironically, this pushed the drop rate for high-tier pets to an all-time high. Stop cracking eggs, it's hell difficulty now. Look alive, everyone. At Ling Feng's command, the squad stepped into the most terrifying stage yet. The Hell-tier Heavenly Palace Rebellion felt eerie. After their physical bodies were destroyed, the demons from the first 11 stages actually turned into spirits and fled toward the final map. Bai Shuyi and Shui Mo were totally baffled. Is it impossible to fully kill monsters on this difficulty? But Ling Feng sensed an opportunity. This might be a new mechanic unlocked after level 120. In front of the final throne, a massive cinematic played out. The Great Ape King brutally devoured the souls of the other 11 demons. Its health instantly skyrocketed to a staggering 3 million. Transforming into a 100-meter giant ape, it looked just like King Kong reborn. A single basic attack wiped out 50,000 of Zhang Chunlin's health. This terrifying, defense-piercing damage made everyone feel the icy grip of death. At that critical moment, Ling Feng showed off his true colors as a reincarnated prophet. He barked orders at the group. Do not pull aggro, no crowd control skills. Everyone, quickly find a giant throne and stand on it. Only use your damage skills. Priest, do not even bother healing. Even though Bai Shuyi looked completely lost, she still did exactly as told. Then, something magical happened. Because the thrones triggered a programming glitch, the gigantic Great Ape King actually couldn't lock onto any targets on them. It just paced back and forth between the 5 thrones like a headless chicken. Thanks to this glitch, the 3 million health boss turned into a sitting duck. As the Great Ape King crashed to the ground, server-wide announcements spammed the screen like crazy. Ling Feng's squad didn't just snag the first clear. They also scored the incredibly precious rare class treasure box. What completely blew the minds of the entire server was the system's next announcement. Level 120 Soul Cultivation System unlocked. Reputation System online. World chat absolutely exploded. Some furiously cursed the devs for dropping new content right before the server shut down, while others leaked that Ling Feng had actually mortgaged his house just to play the game. Facing a screen full of mockery and confusion, Ling Feng just stared at his experience bar, which was about to hit level 120, and let out a cold smirk. At a time when the vast majority of people had already given up all hope, only he knew what this so-called soul cultivation was really about. These were his true assets for surviving the upcoming doomsday invasion. And man, Ling Feng was absolutely famous now. But it wasn't because he was some top player in the game. Nope, it was because the entire internet was calling him the ultimate sucker. Right after the game announced a permanent shutdown with zero compensation, Ling Feng actually sold his house. He borrowed millions just to dump it all into a dying game. When a classmate leaked his crazy stunt, the internet absolutely exploded. Overnight, Ling Feng was all over every short video app. Countless creators were pumping out videos just to roast him. Some claimed he blew through his parents' life insurance money. Others crowned him the biggest clown in gaming history. People even made up wild rumors about him being a total creep since childhood. The online comments were just an absolute bloodbath. Ling Feng was officially branded as a brainless, gullible moron. But hey, in an era where traffic is king, bad press is still press. Ling Feng was suddenly flooded with interview offers. The campus sweetheart from the broadcasting club, Zhang Tingting, wanted an exclusive. Longhai TV's modern youth show begged him to come on air. The Kuayin app even offered him an $800,000 signing bonus to join their platform. When some health supplement brand asked him to promote brain pills, basically calling him an idiot, Ling Feng just hung up on them. But he did accept the TV interview and the official Kuayin contract. Meanwhile, his class group chat was losing its collective mind. Yi Tinglong and his crew, who had been ruthlessly mocking Ling Feng all week, were now choking on their own jealousy. As for his best bro Zhang Chunlin, who had a massive crush on Zhang Tingting's younger sister, Zhang Yuyu, he actually scored an interview with the campus sweetheart herself, all thanks to Ling Feng. He was so hyped he kept calling Ling Feng his blood brother. Over the phone, Su Wanting sounded incredibly worried about all the public backlash. She even offered to beg her family for money to help him out. Ling Feng felt a sudden warmth in his chest. He gently reassured her that he just wanted to share his side of the story on TV, promising he'd still log in every single day to watch the in-game sunsets with her. After hanging up, Ling Feng started mapping out exactly what he was going to say on the show. He knew damn well that the apocalypse was right around the corner, but he couldn't exactly announce that he had been reincarnated. So, he decided to use a prophetic dream as his excuse. He would use this national broadcast to send one final, desperate warning to the public, and more importantly, to the military. Before heading out, he reminded Zhang Chunlin one more time, do not stop buying up game assets. I don't care how low the market crashes, sweep it all up. Especially that god-slaying formation fragment. Even if you have to pay 10 times the asking price, get it. Because for Ling Feng, those digital items were his ultimate lifelines for the nightmare to come. By Wednesday, the recording day for the Modern Youth Show had finally arrived. As the internet's reigning biggest clown, Ling Feng didn't look like the pathetic, broke loser everyone expected. Instead, he looked totally relaxed as he hopped into his roommate Bai Shuyi's sleek private car. Right before they left, his bro Zhang Chunlin called in a panic. The market was suddenly flooded with farming studios dumping their supreme treasure boxes. Ling Feng's eyes instantly lit up. Those boxes were the absolute core for crafting top-tier peg gear. The sellers were demanding a strict $1,000 a pop, but Ling Feng just scoffed, showing zero mercy. Tell them 600 each. I'll take every single one they have. Tell them they can take it or leave it. If they don't sell now, they can watch those boxes turn into worthless pixels when the servers shut down. He knew exactly what he was doing. This massive buyout wasn't just about hoarding supplies. It was the perfect bait to recruit those elite gold farmers when the real apocalypse hit. Bai Shuyi watched him blow through cash like a maniac and finally had to ask if he had some sort of insider trading secret. Ling Feng just laughed it off, keeping his reincarnation totally under wraps. But the moment their car rolled out of the neighborhood, they were blocked by Yi Tinglong and his lowlife gangster brother, Yi Tengu. Acting all tough with his brother backing him up, Yi Tinglong started screaming, demanding Ling Feng pay him back right that second. Facing the heavily tattooed Yi Tengu, Ling Feng stayed completely calm. He pushed away the stun baton Bai Shuyi offered, stepping out of the car to face them alone. Ling Feng saw right through the situation. Yi Tinglong was just jealous of his viral infamy and wanted to pick a fight. Meanwhile, Yi Tengu was just worried this celebrity would bail on his debt. Ling Feng completely ignored the yelling Yi Tinglong. He looked Yi Tengu right in the eye and threw out an ultimate offer. Boss Hu, we agreed on a 3-month repayment, but I'll pay you back in just one. Plus an extra 1 million on top. So, are you gonna listen to your brother and mess with me? Or make an easy 1 million? It's your call. In the face of pure profit, family loyalty didn't stand a chance. Yi Tengu didn't hesitate for long. He immediately demanded Ling Feng write a new IOU for 3 million. Ling Feng didn't just comply, he he threw some heavy shade, mocking Yi Tenglong as a good-for-nothing dog blocking the way, just as Yi Tenglong flew into a rage and tried to attack. Yi Tengu, desperate to protect his cash cow, backhanded his own brother right across the face, forcing Yi Tenglong to bow and apologize to Ling Feng. He even made him call out, "Boss Feng." Watching Yi Tenglong's utter humiliation, Ling Feng got back into the car with a deadpan face and drove off. In this little game of human nature, he had just bought himself some precious time to prepare. As for him right now, he was heading to the studio where he'd broadcast his doomsday prophecy to the entire nation. It was only a 30-minute drive away, facing that 3 million IOU from the Yi brothers. Ling Feng had signed it without a second thought. Bai Shuyi, sitting in the car, was completely baffled. Just for that slap, you're really going to pay an extra 1 million? But Ling Feng just laughed. He knew exactly what was coming. The Yi brothers wouldn't see a single dime of that money, because by the time he returned from the capital, the whole world would be turned upside down. Two ordinary guys who couldn't even inherit game abilities were destined to be nothing more than monster food. That IOU would just be a piece of trash paper by then. On the way to the TV station, Ling Feng told Bai Shuyi to hurry home and be with her parents. He knew full well that the game invading reality wasn't just a disaster. It brought a miraculous energy that could cleanse the human body, could cure all diseases and even regrow severed limbs. And right now, Fantasy Era's newly updated soul cultivation system was the most crucial thing of all. This system completely changed the underlying logic of the entire game. Players could use soul energy to stay full, completely getting rid of the hunger mechanic. And the brand new currency that came with it, soul crystals, became the rarest consumable of all. From normal to radiant grade, the exchange rates were insanely high. A single radiant crystal cost a staggering 100 million gold coins. Ling Feng knew exactly how valuable they were. He immediately ordered Zhang Chunlin to take advantage of the current 100,000 to 1 exchange rate, and absolutely sweep the entire server for gold coins. His goal was to stockpile tens of thousands of radiant crystals. That kind of massive wealth was enough to buy out several small countries within the game. Shortly after, Ling Feng stepped into the Longhai TV station to record the show, Modern Youth. The recording didn't go smoothly at all. On live television, Ling Feng openly called out the Dragon Nation military, demanding they enter the game and start strategizing. The director was scared into a cold sweat by his reckless words, and even paused the recording at one point. But Ling Feng remained absolutely unshaken. What if my dream is actually real? Anyway, just slap on a disclaimer. I'll take the fall if anything goes wrong. In the end, the director backed down, and we wrapped up the recording. April 22nd, Longhai City Airport Lounge. With only 5 days left until the game invades reality, Ling Feng threw on his VR helmet and logged in while waiting for his flight. Thanks to the boost from the prismatic crystal, his soul cultivation level was sitting firmly at number 1 across the entire server. On top of that, he didn't just unbox 3 sets of god-tier pet gear. His magic attack power had smashed right through the 100,000 mark. But the biggest surprise for Ling Feng was the hidden class token that dropped from the Hell tier dungeon. The Skywalker. It was an incredibly versatile, yet insanely difficult class to master. Once he changed classes, he wouldn't just be able to brawl in close quarters combat. He'd be able to cast spells from a distance too. It truly meant absolute freedom on the battlefield. Staring at the hidden class token in my hands, I hesitated deeply. Changing my class to Skywalker meant I'd have to say goodbye to class-specific gear sets and rely entirely on handcrafted gear I forged myself. But the growth stats for this class were absolutely insane. All 4 core stats were rated S tier and above, and the agility multiplier was sitting at a massive 0.05, a full 5 times higher than the Wind Mage class. This meant that the moment I changed classes, I'd have godlike speed and the ultimate hybrid combat power of both physical and magical damage. Just then, Su Wan Ting logged on too. There were actually 2 sets of rewards from that dungeon run, and without a second thought, I handed her the other hidden priest class token, the Radiant Oracle. The moment Su Wan Ting changed her class, she completely by chance triggered a triple S difficulty quest. Save the clan of the Radiant Maidens. I skimmed through the quest rewards, and was absolutely floored. Not only did it reward a one-of-a-kind mythic tier weapon, the Scepter of the Radiant Maiden, but more importantly, holding it meant you could command the entire Radiant Maiden race within the game. I knew exactly what that meant. Once the game invaded the real world, this meant Su Wan Ting would instantly have command over an absolutely loyal army of superhumans. I made up my mind right then and there. As soon as I was done with my current grind, I was going to help her conquer this quest. Right before I boarded my flight to the capital, Zhang Chunlin gave me a call. He sounded absolutely ecstatic. Not only had he finally got his groove back in front of his longtime crush, Zhang Yuyu, but those extra gem slots. The screenshot he sent me completely cemented my decision to change classes. The level 120 handcrafted gear didn't just have insanely overpowered stats, it also completely broke the rules by giving extra skill slots and gem slots. I gave the order immediately. Whatever the cost, even if we had to sell everything we owned, we were going to buy up every single gem on the server. By the time I took my seat on the flight to the capital, I had no idea that the Longhai TV network, terrified of being held liable, had already forwarded my recorded footage to the military. Meanwhile, inside a top-secret base, intelligence officers were analyzing my prophecy over and over again. Even though most people thought the idea of a video game invading reality was complete nonsense, old General Lu Quan had a different kind of vision. He knew very well that the Astral Stone, which served as the game's core server, had a mysterious origin, with technology centuries ahead of Earth. It wouldn't cost much to prepare anyway. Better safe than sorry. General Lu finally made the call, deciding to approve a tiny, almost insignificant budget. Arrange for local garrisons to send a reinforced company into Phantom Century to set up accounts. If I could see this scene right now, I'd be absolutely shocked to find out that this commanding General Lu Quan actually bears a striking resemblance to my in-game partner, Su Wanting. Gears of fate have already started spinning wildly at the boundary between reality and the virtual world. At the capital, Kuayin headquarters, I kicked off the very first live stream interview of my life. Riding on the bizarre popularity of being known as the internet's biggest sucker, my stream broke 100,000 viewers the second it went live. The host sitting right across from me was an influencer with 30 million followers, named Luo Li is not a loli. Buried under heavy makeup and crazy filters, she looked totally sweet and adorable. But I didn't even blink, I honestly couldn't care less. Facing her sharp question about why I'd sell my house and dump 10 million into a dying game, I just looked at her calmly and answered, it was all for that one dream. To prepare for the massive changes about to hit our world, I even dropped a bombshell on the stream, saying, that mage god said I bought for over 1 million. I'm now selling it for 3 million. Whoever believes in it will buy it. The moment I said that, the chat completely exploded. The screen was instantly flooded with insults, calling me a crypto scammer, and swearing at me for being an absolute scumbag. Seeing my popularity maxing out, Kuain's official team immediately set me up to try livestream selling. They obviously had bad intentions. They just shoved a bunch of high-profit, low-quality garbage at me, trying to squeeze every last drop of value out of me like some disposable tool. But I agreed without a second thought. As for feeling guilty, it didn't exist at all, because I knew the truth. Once the apocalypse hits, these buyers won't even live to see their packages arrive. And me? I desperately needed that money to finish up my final resource hoarding in the game. After 2 crazy days of selling, I actually walked away with a massive 8 million in profit. And right at that moment, Shui Mo actually called me. She seriously wanted to drop 3 million on that mage god set. She laughed and said it wasn't just about nostalgia. It was about supporting a friend. When the news broke out in the stream, it caused another massive internet earthquake. The haters were absolutely furious. But even they had to admit, this world is crazier than fiction. On the night of April 26th, I returned to my home in Longhai City with plenty of funds. There were only 24 hours left until the game invaded reality. I immediately put on my helmet and logged in. The crafting of my level 120 god tier custom gear, my Skywalker class, and Su Wanting's triple S rank hidden quest, all had to be finished within this single day. Outside my window, the neon lights of the real world were still shining brightly. But inside the gaming pod, I had already gripped my weapon tight, quietly waiting for that exact moment to arrive. To craft the absolute ultimate 9-star custom gear, I blew through almost all of my material reserves. I didn't just mobilize Zhang Chunlin's studio to place crazy orders across all the major cities. I even borrowed 6 million from Zi Shuyi, along with all the money I made from livestream selling. I swept every last gold coin off the market. Orders for exactly 100,000 sets of level 120 crafted gear are lined up all through tomorrow morning. This is my ultimate gamble. Morning of April 27th, the second I opened my eyes, I knew something was dead wrong. Longhai City, a coastal town right near the equator, was caught in a massive blizzard. I pushed the window open. Pitch black clouds were crushing down on the city. The freezing wind cut like a knife. The news was blowing up with reports of freak weather. The states got hit by a mega tsunami, and Japan was getting pounded by fist-sized hail coast to coast. Even weirder, every single warship on the planet was frozen dead in the water. Overnight, all missiles turned into absolute duds. Science as we knew it was collapsing. The age of myths was coming. I immediately logged into the game. My inbox was stuffed with 600,000 pieces of gear sent by Zhang Chunlin. Out of 100,000 crafted sets, it only gave me less than 5 sets of 9-star supreme quality. I held my breath. I went crazy re-rolling their stats with heavenly craft crystals. 20 minutes later, the entire server's one and only set of level 120 mythic tier crafted gear was finally born. Without a second thought, I completed my class advancement into the Skywalker, a hidden class that mastered both physical and magic damage. Backed by my godly gear, my stats were absolutely terrifying. Especially my mythic weapon, Heaven's Secret. Not only did it boost the levels of all my skills, it also came socketed with the gem skill, Bloodlust. And that skill on my belt, the forbidden spell called Miracle of Time, that thing was practically a bug. It instantly resets all skill cooldowns. Right now, my stat panel could only be described with one word: monster. Both my magic and physical attack broke past 68,000, but the most insane part was my movement speed. With my agility multipliers and gear traits stacked up, it hit a mind-blowing 234 yards per second. That meant I could clear over 200 meters in a single second, twice as fast as a speeding race car. I pulled up the skill I had just maxed out, Super Slide. I stared at the description. For every 100 yards of speed, damage increases by 30%. A cold smirk crept onto my face. Right now, even my most basic slide attack would burst with enough double damage to make any opponent absolutely despair. Snow outside was coming down harder and harder, as if burying the old world. As for me, I was armed to the goddamn teeth, just waiting for high noon tomorrow, when that sky-shattering rift finally tears open. After advancing my class to Skywalker, I stared at my skill panel for a long time. I couldn't shake the feeling that this class had a really weird vibe. It was basically a souped-up version of a super dirty camper. Aside from all the sneak attacks and crowd control skills, like Enchanted Half Moon, a pure damage ultimate like that actually came with the terrifying passive. The faster you are, the harder you hit. That wasn't even the most broken part. The true core of the Skywalker class was that it could learn almost any class's forbidden spells. I dug through the City Lord's warehouse, searching through the skill books Zhang Chunlin got for me, and handpicked 2 forbidden spells. The first is Starblast Annihilation. This is an absolute nightmare for single target DPS. It delays damage calculation and stacks it up. Starblast stacks. When it finally detonates, it deals double true damage. This means, even if the enemy is a massive meat shield, after I build up 30 stacks of Starblast, that final detonation is enough to vaporize them on the spot. The other skill is 7-star Convergence. This was originally a god-tier escape skill for assassins. It allows 7 consecutive teleports, 500 yards each, with invincibility frames. For a hybrid physical and magic user like me, this isn't just a movement skill. It's a lethal, hit-and-run damage engine. At this point, my gear score has already left the second place, Shuemo, in the dust by 18,000 points. But that's still not enough. I noticed the game suddenly rolled out a global rating leaderboard. Only the top 100 players get a score. As the rank 1 player, I got a perfect score of 100. I know full well, this leaderboard determines that when the game invades reality, how much of our abilities we can inherit, and whether our gear stats will be nerfed. The moment Sue Wanting logged in, I immediately traded her the level 120 crafted mythic set I made, watching the glowing aura swirl around her. As her score shot up to rank 2 globally, I finally let out a sigh of relief. Next, I pulled Zhang Chunlin, Shuemo, and Zi Shuyi together, getting ready to run Sue Wanting through that one and only triple S rank quest, saving the Holy Maidens of Light. In the party voice chat, the atmosphere was incredibly heavy. Shuemo's voice was trembling as she said there were giant ice spikes falling up north where she lived, and they had already crushed people to death. I calmly told them, haven't you guys realized? This kind of extreme weather is perfectly normal in the game. Go bypass the firewall and check the international news. You'll see that the dream I talked about during my stream is turning into reality. For a moment, the voice channel fell into a dead silence. Everyone was frantically refreshing international news sites, watching the footage of missiles malfunctioning, satellites spinning out of control, and massive tsunamis swallowing entire cities. Everyone knew in their hearts, the time left for the old world is running out. I might not get what's happening, but I know following the boss is the right move. Zhang Chunlin shouted with his usual goofy loyalty, all while dumping insane amounts of money to boost his global rating. I led the squad, and we set foot on our final expedition to the Temple of Light. April 27th, this is the last fading light of our civilization, and within this fading light, we will seize the ultimate power. With only a few hours left until the game servers shut down, the extreme weather worldwide was getting even more insane. But I knew, the most crucial thing right now was to race against the server shutdown. And help Sue wanting finish that exclusive Triple S rank quest. The reward wasn't just a mythic weapon, it was the absolute loyalty of the Holy Maidens. Over on the global leaderboard right now, I was still sitting comfortably at the top with a perfect 100 points. This wasn't just for glory. It was the absolute guarantee that I'd inherit 100% of my abilities tomorrow. Under my relentless pushing, Zhang Chunlin had also aggressively raised his score to 93. Everything was ready. The 5 of us in the squad stepped into the quest zone. The land of exile. This place was an absolute living hell. Nothing but dead weeds, ruins, and something massive squirming around. The second we set foot there, a colossal earth-rending worm burst out from underground. Its terrifying 3-meter wide mouth spewed out this putrid liquid. It was so vile that Zi Shuyi almost threw up right on the spot. To end this quickly, I went straight for my forbidden spell. 7-star synergy. I kept teleporting like crazy, darting back and forth around the monster until I literally spun this level 150 mob dizzy. It eventually turned into pure XP. Then, guided by our little Saintess, we found the survivors of the Saintess clan hiding inside a hollowed-out dead tree. These women with flowing golden hair, all dropped to their knees before Sue Wanting, revering her as the divine oracle. Turns out, they were imprisoned in this wasteland by the gods, doomed to be nothing more than livestock for the level 150 field boss, the Earth Dragon King. The women of this clan have a very unique trait. As long as they consume the holy fruit, they can reproduce purely female offspring. There were actually over 10,000 of them hiding out here. Do you know what that means? If we pull this quest off, Sue Wanting would command an elite army of 10,000 supernatural warriors. But to get them out of here, we had to take down the Earth Dragon King. This monstrous beast stood over 100 meters tall. Just looking at it was enough to make your sanity completely tank. Facing a literal rain of its putrid, toxic sludge, I had Zhang Chunlin rush order us 5 sets of ninja costumes with built-in face masks. We had to completely block out that god-awful stench before charging into battle fully geared up. Man, this is the first time in my life I've ever regretted playing a knight. Zhang Chunlin yelled, shutting his eyes as he charged in to pull aggro. I went all out, activating sprint. My movement speed skyrocketed to 400. My enchanted crescent slash unleashed 2 horrifying damage numbers, smashing straight into the boss's head. 220,000 and 110,000. I quickly caught on to its weakness. Its magic resistance was insanely high, but its physical defense was totally lacking. Using my Skywalker class's phantom speed, I dodged its venom showers while unleashing absolute hell on its blind spot. Astral burst mark applied, followed by an enhanced sap and sneak attack. For a solid minute, I danced around that colossal mountain of flesh, building up 30 full stacks of astral burst on it. And then, I pulled the trigger. Boom, 1 million hit points vanished from the Earth Dragon King's health bar. A whole third of its life, just totally wiped out. The boss let out an agonizing, desperate roar. It threw its massive jaws wide open, and started regurgitating endless swarms of tiny earth-rending worms from its throat, trying to drown us in a literal sea of bugs. Is that all you've got? I scoffed. I instantly triggered the forbidden spell on my belt. Miracle of time, in a flash, every single one of my skill cooldowns was totally reset, including my fatal astral burst. Hey, Earth Dragon King, your time is officially up, and this is going to be humanity's final battle in this virtual world. The Earth Dragon King might be huge, but deep down, it was no different from a bloated ant queen. Aside from laying eggs and spitting acid, its actual combat power was a total joke to me now. In less than 2 minutes, the Earth Dragon King crashed heavily to the ground. Amidst the huge pile of crafting leather it dropped, the ultimate quest item, the Radiant Saintess Scepter, was finally ours. The very second Sue Wanting gripped that scepter, a massive shockwave blasted across the entire land of exile. 10,000 maidens stepped out from the hollowed trees. As a pillar of holy light pierced the heavens, I watched with my own eyes as their high priest, Kong Yan, had her level instantly shoot up to 180, breaking through into the legendary Third Awakening realm. From her, I learned a truth that would completely shatter everything players thought they knew. Level 120 is just the beginning. Levels are merely vessels holding our souls. Only by constantly breaking the level cap through reincarnation can our soul cultivation ascend to a divine disciple, a divine envoy, or even the supreme heavenly god realm. But time was running out. I had Sue Wanting lead the Holy Maiden clan and take temporary shelter in my Sky Moon city. Meanwhile, I managed to pry a forbidden cultivation shortcut out of Kong Yan. Devouring souls, even though Kong Yan warned me that swallowing monster souls would breed inner demons. I didn't have much time left. I charged into the chaos in the Heavenly Palace dungeon completely alone. And kicked straight into a violent harvesting mode. The first time I crushed and swallowed a boss's soul fragment, the system notification sent me into pure ecstasy. Devour successful, soul experience, plus 5,000. That discovery drove me absolutely insane. In those final few hours before the server shut down, I spammed the dungeon over and over, treating those monster souls like supercharged tonics. By 8 PM, my soul cultivation had forcefully smashed its way to tier 5. All my stats got a 10% boost, and I even scored 10 precious bonus skill points. My stat panel was practically blinding, glowing a brilliant gold from my soul's evolution. But deep down, I felt a creeping sense of unease. The server-wide announcement showed that the server shutdown time was actually a whole hour earlier than I remembered from my past life. Did the butterfly effect from my actions hit too hard? Did I accelerate the merging of worlds? 10:50 PM, I sent Sue wanting one final message. No matter what happens after we log off, call me immediately. At exactly 11 o'clock, the game screen went pitch black. I was forcibly disconnected. Back in the real world, I ripped off my headset and rushed to the window. Up in the pitch black sky, the stars had completely vanished. In their place were ear-shattering cracks of thunder and the terrifying roars of monsters. Screech, a crisp, piercing phoenix cry echoed right inside my room. I spun around. The vermilion bird was flapping its fiery wings, landing right on my headboard. The flying mouse affectionately nuzzled my arm, while the snow maiden stood guard beside me like a breathtakingly beautiful ice sculpture. I looked down at my hands. The heavy mythic gear was already seamlessly equipped on my body. Every inch of my muscles surged with an overwhelming, superhuman power. The world had descended into pure chaos. The terrified screams of my neighbors echoed from everywhere. But I gripped my weapon, Heavenly Secret, tightly in my hand, and a cold smirk crept onto my lips. The game has invaded reality. This moment is finally here, right now. I'm standing on my balcony, staring at the monster wreaking havoc right above me. In the game, it was just a level 65 eagle horn beast. I could crush it effortlessly. But in the real world, its massive body was big enough to easily crush a residential building. I figured Sue Wanting would be the first one to call me. I didn't expect it to be Zhang Chunlin. Boss, you've gotta come to the school and save us. I can't find you. There's a level 100 monster here. I'm just a knight. I can't tank this thing all by myself. Zhang Chunlin screamed, his voice breaking with sobs. Over the deafening roar of buildings collapsing in the background, I just let out a heavy sigh. You've got to hold the line, no matter what. As long as it's not a boss, you'll be absolutely fine. Keep the professors and the students safe. I'm on my way. Right after that, Sue Wanting's call came through. Her voice was trembling. Ling Feng, that dream of yours, it actually came true. I calmly reassured her, stay inside and don't move a muscle. The world map has completely changed now. Satellite navigation is totally useless. Do not run around out there. Wait until I can sense the exact location of Sky Moon City. Then I will come and get you. I hung up the phone. I also received the tragic news of Shu Yi's death. She had been leading the Sea Demon City garrison in a grueling battle against the sea monsters. But I didn't have time to waste on chatter anymore. I smashed right through the window. The apartment complex had already turned into a hunting ground for the eagle horn beasts. Hundreds of monsters were swarming the basketball court, frantically tearing at the chain link fence. Inside, it was packed with terrified residents. I scoffed coldly, and with a mere thought, possess, the flying mouse from the game instantly merged with my body. A pair of gray wings burst from my back, launching me straight up into the clouds. This 35-point attribute boost made the blood in my veins feel like it was boiling. Vermilion bird, clear them out. Snow maiden, protect the civilians. Gripping the Heavenly Secret sword, I dive bombed straight down. Every slash of my blade brought agonizing howls from the eagle horn beasts. The vermilion bird unleashed its divine flames, instantly lighting up the entire complex. Meanwhile, the snow maiden turned into a walking blizzard. With a single cast of her domain, she froze the entire area around the basketball court, turning all the monsters into ice sculptures. After rescuing the crowd, I completely ignored their thanks. Gathering my pets, I turned into a streak of light and blasted straight toward the university. By now, Long High Tech University was nothing but a pile of rubble. The military company stationed there was fighting a desperate, bloody battle. But most of them had only inherited their level 70 stats. Surrounded by level 100 monsters, they were taking heavy casualties. Attack! Zhang Chunlin was riding a glittering golden warhorse, using a taunt skill to draw the aggro of dozens of monsters. He was screaming Zhang Yu's name into the crowd. But right at that moment, the ground shook violently. A massive shadow, nearly 100 meters tall, completely flattened the academic building. A level 80 boss monster. The Dark Demon Dragon. The survivors hiding in the gym fell into total despair. That pathetic coward Yi Tenglong was literally pissing his pants in terror, while still cursing at Zhang Tingting. This is all that Jinx Ling Feng's fault. He definitely knew the game would invade reality. He made himself so overpowered. So why the hell isn't he here to save us? Isn't it his duty to protect us? Boom! A streak of crimson flames tore through the sky. My voice echoed coldly from right above the demon dragon. Yi Tenglong, my money was spent to save my own life, not to rescue a piece of trash like you. Vermilion bird, torch that overgrown worm to ashes. While that loser Yi Tenglong was still running his mouth, the vermilion bird's divine flames completely lit up the entire campus. The wings on my back fluttered, keeping me suspended in midair right in front of the 100-meter-tall dark demon dragon. Boss, you can actually fly? Zhang Chunlin's eyes were practically bulging out of his head. I replied with a smirk. Just a little pet possession skill. Basic gamer stuff. The dark demon dragon before me let out an earth-shattering roar. It was the very beast that killed me in my past life. But in this life, to me, it's nothing more than a walking pile of experience points. I activated Enhanced Thrust. My heavenly secret sword flashed like a shooting star, piercing straight into its eyeball. Then, using my maxed out speed of 400 yards, I instantly dashed behind it. Enhanced Sap, Enhanced Sneak Attack, the whole combo hit perfectly. That dragon breath it was so proud of? It didn't even singe the edge of my clothes. With the terrifying double damage burst of my final super slide, the 100-meter behemoth crashed to the ground. I skillfully sliced off its wings, eyeballs, and claws, tossing them straight into my storage ring. What a pity, its level was just too low. It didn't even drop a soul form. Zhang Chunlin, you lead the troops and escort the students and teachers. I'll clear the way up front. Instantly killed every monster blocking our path, leading the convoy on a full sprint toward the northern suburbs. By now, the Blue Star was expanding like crazy. Its landmass had grown by over 100 times. Entirely new continents rose from the center of the eastern Pacific Ocean out of thin air. In Sky Moon City, which I could sense, was standing quietly right ahead of us. Back in the convoy, Yi Tenglong was still whining, spouting some garbage about how I owed him money and had to save his life. Zhang Chunlin literally laughed out of sheer anger. He pulled out his phone on the spot and transferred 3 million. There's your money, now take your filthy cash and get the hell out. In this fantasy era, where the old order had completely collapsed and only the strong survived. What good was money anyway? Zhang Chunlin picked Yi Tenglong up like a little chicken, and threw him straight into the monster-infested wasteland. In that moment, the teachers and students in the convoy finally understood. The things that could save their lives were no longer laws or money. It was pure strength. Finally, we arrived at the gates of Sky Moon City. The catgirl, Ah Chi, led the night order on duty, dropping to one knee. Greetings, my lord. At that moment, the 100,000 civilians behind me were absolutely stunned. My previous investment of tens of millions had bought me the only impenetrable steel fortress in this apocalypse. I immediately ordered High Priest Kong Yan to cross the void, to rescue Su Wanting and her family from a monster siege. Less than a minute later, Su Wanting's beautiful, radiant figure appeared right before my eyes. Ignoring everyone watching, she threw her arms around me and hugged me tight. Moonlight spilled over the walls of Sky Moon City, turning this place into the only safe haven for hundreds of miles. However, Company Commander Long Lin, who was guarding the rear, brought us a suffocating battle report. Reporting to the city lord, Longhai City has completely fallen. Millions of monsters are converging toward Sky Moon City right now. We await your orders, sir. Right then, gripping a military-grade communicator, Commander Long Lin delivered even more suffocating news. Global military headquarters were being wiped out one by one. The entire Blue Star was paralyzed. The once bustling, prosperous cities had been turned into isolated islands after the planet's insane expansion. Su Wanting squeezed my hand tightly, her eyes filled with absolute dread. My grandfather, General Lu Quan, he's still stationed at the Zhongning military base. I can't reach him at all. I looked out at the 100,000 refugees who had just entered my city, and coldly announced to everyone, people are free to come and go in Sky Moon City. If you want to stay, you follow my orders to the letter. From now on, Zhang Chunlin is the Vice City Lord. His word is my word. If you want to leave, nobody's stopping you, but once you step outside those gates, your life and death are your own damn problem. In this era of collapsing order, a soft heart cannot lead an army. I appointed Zhang Chunlin to command the 3 great legions and guard Sky Moon City. As for myself, I had to face an even more terrifying threat. I received an SOS message on my phone from Bai Shuyi. Zombies had appeared in Demon Sea Metropolis. Plus, the intel from Shuemo stated that a level 110 boss, a necromancer, was claiming territory. Turning the living into an army of the dead, you two seniors, I looked at Kong Yan and Kong Lin, tossing out a very tempting offer. Help me rescue General Lu. Once it's done, I'll give the Saintis clan a piece of territory, and Sky Moon City's Tower of Trials will be open to you, indefinitely. The terms were settled. Kong Yan took Su wanting to find General Lu, while I instantly sprouted wings from my back, and flew straight to Demon Sea Metropolis. If a zombie virus created by the Corpse Worm King spread, Sky Moon City wouldn't survive either. Stepping into the once prosperous Demon Sea Metropolis, all I saw were ruins and rubble. The streets were swarming with white-eyed walking corpses, letting out piercing screeches from their throats. Meanwhile, on the roof of a ruined building in the city center, Bai Shuyi was backed into a corner. The Valkyrie was being ambushed by her three teammates, Du Li, Wang Jing, and Chen Yi. These three bastards were notorious looters in the game, specializing in murder and robbery. Haha, the level 120 boss is crippled, and this pretty little chick is heavily injured. All this top-tier gear is ours. That psycho named Wang Jing lunged at Bai Shuyi with a lecherous grin. You animal. Bai Shuyi leaned against her Tengu, struggling desperately, but she was at the end of her rope. So, it's you pathetic maggots. It was bad enough that you targeted me in the game, but you actually dared to show your faces in reality? My voice rang out coldly from the shadows of the alley. Wearing my white spring breeze and lingering snow outfit, wielding my Tianji weapon, with the vermilion bird on my left and the snow maiden on my right, I slowly walked out. Linjiang Chengxi. Wang Jing screamed in terror, turning around to flee. Freeze. Nanming Lihuo. The snow maiden froze him in an instant, and the vermilion bird's chain of fireballs blasted him so hard he puked blood. Seeing things go south, the three of them cowardly dived into the zombie horde to escape. I didn't rush to chase them. Instead, I teleported right behind the crippled, level 120 boss, the Colossus, and finished it off completely with an empowered sneak attack. As the boss fell, a powerful soul energy tried to escape. I grabbed it in one swift motion and immediately circulated my cultivation technique to devour it. At that moment, the bottleneck inside my body shattered with a boom. 6th tier soul, breakthrough, level, increased to 121. I gave up chasing those looters and stayed behind to take over the low health level 120 Colossus boss. After devouring its soul, I clearly felt that surge of nourishing vitality clashing inside me. This was the very first boss's core soul in reality. Bai Shuyi was critically injured and dying, so I conveniently used her as a guinea pig. I stuffed a major recovery pill into her mouth. Seeing that the effects were slow, I fed her a super recovery pill, watching this Valkyrie rapidly restored to full health. I felt a lot more relieved. Next, we hacked our way through the street, heading straight for the level 70 boss, the Corpse Bug King. Even though this thing was pretty average in the game, in reality, it could endlessly spawn zombies. After taking it down, it dropped a wicked item, the puppet's heart, just as we were fighting a bloody battle against the endless tide of monsters. I suddenly looked up and saw a few figures standing high up in the clouds. It was a suffocating pressure that made my heart pound, way beyond a level 150 boss. Right after that, chaos erupted by the sea. An ancient sea siren with an unreadable level broke through the waves. 100-meter tall titan was swallowed whole like a tiny snack in its mouth. Bai Shuyi, fall back, now. I grabbed her and was just about to run, when a furious shout echoed from the sky like roaring thunder. How dare you cross the border to poach beasts from my dragon spirit kingdom? You're courting death. As the golden light faded, a man clad in golden armor, wielding a golden spear, descended from the sky. He was the province lord of Zhenhai in the dragon spirit kingdom, Jin Chang. But what shocked me even more was that, when that vicious sea siren saw him, it actually retreated into the deep sea in fear. Muttering about the divine disciple realm. Right then, two familiar rays of light descended. Ling Feng, Su Wanting arrived, bringing Kong Yan, Kong Lin, and General Lu Quan, who was clad in blood-red armor. When Province Lord Jin Chang saw the two elders from the Holy Maiden tribe, his attitude instantly became respectful. He even looked at me in a new light, just because they were staying in my Tianyue city. From Jin Chang, I learned a brutal truth. The Blue Star we know is no longer the same. It has become the Blue Star realm, divided into countless territories. The 8 southeastern provinces of our country are now entirely under the rule of the Dragon Spirit Kingdom, and the so-called game invasion was actually a long-planned evolutionary culling. To him, the people who were eaten by monsters were just trash who threw away a 20-year opportunity to grow stronger. Since you are the lord of Tianyue City, he said, I shall acknowledge your status. From now on, you are my man. Facing this terrifyingly powerful province lord, I knew I had to bow my head to survive. I clasped my hands and accepted his order. But deep down, being treated like a mere pawn filled me with absolute rage. This world is far more massive and much darker than I ever imagined. On the way back, I changed my tone and respectfully called General Lu Quan, Grandpa. Then, I desperately asked him about the global situation. General Lu Quan looked at me with a heavy expression. Ling Feng, the blue star of today, has turned into a map we don't recognize at all. As night fell, the main hall of the Tianyue City Lord's mansion was brightly lit. After hearing the news Grandpa Lu Quan brought back, I finally realized just how absolute this global catastrophe was. The island nation to the east has completely fallen. The bear nation in the north is barely surviving the extreme freeze. And the Western powers, after their heavy weapons became useless, were turned into scorched earth almost overnight. As for our nation, its borders have expanded 100 times over. Our 8 southeastern provinces were absorbed by the Dragon Spirit Kingdom. That peak second stage province lord, Jin Cheng. The way he looked at us Blue Star natives was full of nothing but pity and absolute disgust. We can't just sit here and wait to die. Bai Shuyi swung her battle axe in frustration. That bastard Jin Cheng doesn't even see us as human. Grandpa Lu Quan nodded slowly. Ling Feng, you are the lord of Tianyue City, and you're the undisputed number 1. From now on, we follow your lead. We need to organize all the survivors, and build a life here. To survive in this chaotic world. But, just as we were discussing our strategy, High Priestess Kong Yan suddenly demanded to take Su Wanting away. A divine telepath is a once-in-a-millennium talent. Staying with a bunch of amateurs who haven't even reached their second awakening will only waste her gifts. Kong Yan's words were harsh, but when she looked at me, there was a strange gleam in her eyes. City Lord Lin, don't get too full of yourself. Governor Golden Spear values you, not just because of this city, but because you are a once in 10,000 years. Skywalker, though you are powerful, the deadly traps set for you will only multiply. A once in 10,000 years talent. My heart skipped a beat. It turns out the Skywalker class potential far exceeded my imagination. Just as we reached a stalemate, Dragon General, commander of the Heavenly Moon Knights, rushed into the hall. Report, City Lord, we found an endless gold mine range in the western outskirts. And to the northwest, a vast soul mountain range. A soul mountain range? That meant a spirit vein was buried underneath, capable of producing soul crystals for spirit cultivation. Kong Yan instantly shot up from her seat. Her voice was breathless. City Lord Lin, if you can give 2 mountain peaks to the Holy Maiden tribe as our territory, we are willing to form a full defensive alliance with Heavenly Moon City. The divine telepath can stay in the mountains to train, and it's still close to your city. What do you say? I made my decision on the spot. I took everyone out of the city to investigate. As I hovered in the air, looking down at that endless horizon of mines, I could almost see a golden empire rising from the ashes. Zhang Chunlin was digging away down there, and he pulled out a shimmering soul crystal. Alright, I turned to look at Kong Yan. It's a deal, 2 mountain peaks are yours. But I don't just want an alliance. From now on, the top talents of my Heavenly Moon City must be allowed to train at your facilities. And in return, our trial tower will be fully open to the Holy Maiden tribe. On the very first day of the Blue Star Apocalypse, not only did I have a city, I also had my own mines. The massive hoard of mythic materials, elixirs, and skill books in my warehouse would be my ultimate leverage. I immediately gave the order. I deployed the 3 major legions to secure the mining zone. Listen up, everyone, come mine for Heavenly Moon City. The City Lord's estate will only take a 10% cut. The remaining 90% is all yours. And with the ore you gather, you can come to me to trade for God-tier gear, rare elixirs, and even advanced skills. This announcement instantly ignited hope for the 100,000 refugees in the city. In this brutal era of alien invasion, I, Ling Feng, would use these 2 spirit mines as my leverage to kickstart the rise of all humanity on Blue Star. As the foundational rules of Heavenly Moon City were set in place, the city transformed into a massive survival experiment. I wasn't a babysitter. I provided housing, mentors, and protection. In return, the 100,000 humans in the city had to earn their keep by mining, leveling up, or picking up a sub-profession. It was a cold, but absolutely fair exchange. At 11 o'clock that night, several imposing airships descended upon the Heavenly Moon City Square. Governor Golden Spear had returned. Accompanying them was a woman who called herself Mia, president of the Merchant Guild, along with 8 formidable patriarchs from otherworldly families. City Lord Lin, you've got great foresight. Mia looked me up and down with the judging gaze of a superior. Zhenhai province is massive, yet you're the only Earthling who actually owns a city. At the banquet in the city lord's manor, Jin Chang finally bared his fangs. He acknowledged my status as city lord, and even recognized my ownership of the Tianyue mine, but it came at a heavy price. Tributes. This was nothing short of blatant daylight robbery. But I knew damn well that Tianyue City had absolutely zero bargaining chips right now. Don't think it's too steep, City Lord Lin. Jin Chang took a sip of his wine and said coolly. Tianyue City sits right in the heart of monster territory. A beast horde was supposed to siege your city first thing tomorrow morning. But as long as you cough up the money, I can buy you 10 days. 10 days. That was the crucial buffer period I had just bought with a mountain of resources. I took a deep breath and replied in a heavy tone. If I pay double the tribute, can I get the exclusive rights during these 10 days? To hunt down all the major bosses in the surrounding area? Jin Chang laughed. An amused, playful smirk crossed his face. You really are a smart one, City Lord Lin. We have a deal. After sending off those bloodsuckers, I immediately called for Lu Quan, Su Wanting, and Zhang Chunlin. I knew exactly what was going on. Jin Chang's so-called stability was nothing but a fragile illusion built on pure exploitation. Right now, we're just a giant ATM for these otherworldly bastards. If we don't use these 10 days to get stronger, the moment the beast horde arrives, Tianyue City will still be reduced to rubble. Chunlin, mobilize the entire city. Mine for resources at night, level up during the day. Recruit 20,000 apprentices to rush production on gear. We have to make sure that within 10 days, our main combat forces hit level 30 or higher. Just then, Bai Shuyi rushed in with terrible news. Shui Mo, who also controlled a city in the Ice Nation, was calling for help. There was no grace period in her region. The beast horde was going to hit them tomorrow. To make matters worse, her tribute quota was somehow several times higher than mine. Ling Feng, Shui Mo is begging you to come help, Bai Shuyi said, her face completely grim. I stared at the screen of my phone, my mind already racing with a plan. I had to go, not just to save Shui Mo, but to see with my own two eyes what these so-called beast hordes were really made of, and to figure out the shady dealings between these otherworldly nations. High Priestess, put the territory expansion on hold for now. I looked at Kong Yan. I need the Sisters of the Holy Maiden tribe to lead the teams. And power level our people as fast as humanly possible. In return, Tianyue City's mines in the trial tower will be completely open to your tribe. After securing the home front's defensive line, I gripped Tianji tightly. I knew some people thought that letting those gold diggers live was like releasing tigers back into the wild. But I had to prioritize my own evolution first. In this completely unpredictable Blue Star realm, raw strength was the foundation of absolutely everything. Before heading off to the Ice Nation to back up Shui Mo, I needed to make sure our home base was rock solid. I handed over the heavy responsibility of the city's defense to Su Wanting, and had Bai Shuyi and Grandpa Lu Quan assist her. As for Zhang Chunlin, our vice city lord was currently running himself ragged. Not only did he have to settle the over 100,000 refugees that Jin Chang had just dumped on us, but he also had to lead squads out of the city in shifts to level up. Watching those people, who despite losing their homes, were forcing themselves into the mines in the harsh wilderness just to survive. I knew deep down, in this digitized reality, hard work won't necessarily keep you alive. But being lazy is a guaranteed death sentence. Right before heading out, I checked my status panel one last time. After my soul broke through to tier 6, the advantages of my Skywalker class have become absolutely terrifying. My new forbidden spell, Divine Elephant Treads the Nine Heavens, is locked and loaded. This move doesn't just pack an insane amount of burst damage. What I value most is those 3 seconds of absolute invincibility. In a real world where you only get one life, invincibility is basically a get-out-of-jail-free card for death. With everything sorted out, I spread the wings on my back. I turned into a blur, tearing through the night sky, heading straight for the borders of the Dragon Spirit Nation. As I passed over a dark, dense forest, the flashes of lightning and thunder below caught my eye. I concealed my presence and landed silently in the canopy of the trees. Down below, a petite girl was completely surrounded by 3 fierce-looking thugs. Wang Jing, Chen Yi, and Du Li. My eyes went ice cold. It was those lingering scumbag scavengers again. That girl, Ling Xiaoya, was only in her early 20s. But the lightning magic in her hands was actually pretty solid. She clearly dropped a lot of cash before the game merged with reality. You absolute scumbags. I, Ling Xiaoya, am not scared of you. Even though her voice was shaking, the lightning in her hands crackled furiously. Haha, little girl. We'll be taking that top-tier gear of yours. And with that soft, delicate skin, your big brothers are gonna take real good care of you. Soon enough. Wang Jing laughed like an absolute creep. And then we'll kill you. It'll be the perfect little gift for Dawn in the woods. I let out a cold scoff and stopped hiding. Teleport. Wang Jing was right in the middle of his smug laughter, when he suddenly felt a chill on the back of his neck. In the split second our bodies crossed paths. A heavenly secret longsword sliced precisely through his defenses. His head rolled off his body. An instant one-hit kill. Du Feng and Chen Yi were scared completely out of their minds. I slowly walked out from the shadows, my longsword dripping with fresh blood. I heard, you guys wanted to give me a surprise. Ling Feng, it's Ling Feng. The two of them shrieked, desperately trying to split up and run. But trying to outrun a Skywalker? That was an absolute joke. 2 quick slashes, Du Feng was dead, and I sliced Chen Yi cleanly in half. Right before he died, Chen Yi let out a maniacal laugh. Ling Feng, you have no idea who our boss is. He is going to slaughter every single one of you. I stared down at his lifeless body, without a single shred of pity. Boss, I don't care who he is. Anyone who dares to stand in my way will end up exactly like this. Just as I was about to get back on the move, that girl, Ling Xiaoya, suddenly let out a deafening, high-pitched scream. Wah, it really is you, Ling Feng. Oh my gosh, I'm your biggest fan. Before I could even react, she leapt onto me like a rabid octopus, wrapping both her legs incredibly tight around my waist. She bawled her eyes out, snot and tears streaming down as she cried about her family's tragedies. I just stood there, completely frozen, staring at this self-proclaimed #1 supporter. This crazy little fangirl who actually bought 1,000 orders of every single item in my livestream. For the first time, I felt like I was dealing with a headache even worse than a level 150 boss. Ling Xiaoya, can you please get off me first? I helplessly patted her head. No way, it was so hard for me to finally find you. I'm scared, okay? I looked at the dying battery on her phone showing the Kuayin order page, and could only rub my temples. The monster wave is coming, and we're out here in the middle of nowhere. Can't exactly leave this little fangirl to the monsters. Looks like on my way to the Ice Kingdom, I'll be dragging along dead weight. 6 a.m. I finally made it to the border of the Dragon Spirit Kingdom with Ling Xiaoya. Behind us, Sky Moon City was finally getting on track. But I knew that surviving as a lone island like Sky Moon City just wasn't enough. If the people of Blue Star want to survive, we have to stand together. That's why I decided to cross the Yellow River and head to Ice City to back up Shui Mo. Along the way, I threw Ling Xiaoya on my back and activated max speed sprint. My speed skyrocketed to 500 yards a second, yet I couldn't help but marvel at how ridiculously massive the expanded Blue Star had become. At the border checkpoint, I finally laid eyes on the guards of the Ice Kingdom. A group of white elves, so flawlessly beautiful they looked almost eerie. The female general, Mir, stared at me with a mix of amusement and heavy suspicion. Skywalker, I hope you're just here looking for a friend. Your very existence is a massive headache on its own. Her words only deepened my suspicions. Kong Yan once said a Skywalker only appears once in 10,000 years. So why were even these otherworldly elves so incredibly wary of this class? But I didn't have time to overthink it, because, judging by the time, Shui Mo's Ice City must have already been hit by the monster wave. Meanwhile, at Ice City, Shui Mo stood on top of the city walls, staring down at the monsters surging forward like a massive black tide. Beside her stood only 600 inheritors who had retained their in-game power. The rest were 100,000 ordinary citizens of Blue Star. Sisters, this is not a game. There are no respawns. Once you fall, it's game over for good. Shui Mo's voice trembled slightly in the bitter wind, but it carried an undeniable resolve. Yet, what enraged her even more was the elven airships hovering above the clouds, looking down condescendingly at the slaughter below. Those elves from the Ice Kingdom were watching them like it was some kind of gladiator show. Their eyes were filled with nothing but cold indifference and mockery, without a single shred of intention to help. The battle erupted in an instant. The first 10 waves of monsters weren't very high level, so everyone could handle them with relative ease. But by the 10th wave, a level 80 dark demon dragon spawned. Shui Mo led her team in a concentrated attack, and with the heavy firepower of the city's garrison, they barely managed to take it down. But starting from the 11th wave, the levels and sheer numbers of the monsters multiplied exponentially. Hordes of level 55 mobs smashed into the city walls. Ice City's defensive arrays constantly rippled from the intense impact. By the 19th wave, a massive gap was actually blasted right open in the solid stone walls. Behind us is our home, our parents. Even if we have to use our flesh and blood, we are going to plug that gap. The garrison soldiers of Ice City let out an earth-shattering roar. In this moment of utter despair, The soldiers leapt down from the walls without a second thought, using their own bodies to forge the first line of defense. This fierce, tragic morale instantly infected every single person. The mages sped up their chanting, and the priests cast their healing spells so fast their hands became a blur. But right at that moment, a deafening crack of thunder ripped through the sky. A colossal beast, wreathed in purple lightning, towering dozens of meters high, came crushing through the rocks. A level 120 boss. Thunder Beast. How is this possible? It's only the 20th wave. How could a level 120 boss show up already? Shui Mo's face went deadly pale. She jerked her head up to look at the clouds. Those elves were up there, elegantly sipping their wine with cruel smirks playing on their lips. It hit her instantly. This wasn't a normal monster horde at all. The elves were pulling the strings from the shadows, trying to turn Ice Snow City into a complete graveyard. Ling Feng. Where on earth are you? Shui Mo gripped her staff so hard her knuckles turned completely white. Meanwhile, I was carrying Ling Xiaoya, tearing across the surface of the Yellow River like a streak of white lightning. We were pushing toward Ice Snow City at absolute top speed, but right now, the city was on the brink of total collapse. It was only the 20th wave, and the level 120 Thunder Beast, controlled by the elves, had already trampled the outer defenses to dust. Shui Mo had activated the Elementalist's forbidden spell, the 5 elements array, but against the insanely thick hide of the Thunder Beast. The damage was basically a drop in the bucket. Even the relentless skill bombardment from hundreds of inheritors barely chipped away a quarter of its health. Was this really the end? Shui Mo's eyes were brimming with absolute despair. High above the clouds, the white elf princess, Mo Yi, watched the carnage with icy indifference. The male elf beside her even felt that watching the weak struggle was just cruel. They were already preparing to leave, just waiting for Ice Snow City to be reduced to ruins. But right at that do-or-die moment, a blinding flash of white light tore through the sky. With Ling Xiaoya on my back, I activated Limit Sprint and dive bombed straight down. Before those arrogant elves could even react, I blinked right behind the Thunder Beast. Ling Feng is here, Shui Mo shrieked at the top of her lungs, instantly reigniting the hope of the entire city. I didn't waste any time on words. Star energy burst. I led with my ultimate, chaining it flawlessly with 7-star gather. Using the teleport effect, I left a trail of afterimages blurring across the battlefield. Hitting Soul Tier 6 gave me 80,000 dual attack power. Every single backstab tore out massive chunks of the beast's health. In just 30 seconds, I stacked all 30 layers of the burst status. Shatter, I roared, triggering the detonation. The once unstoppable Thunder Beast let out an agonizing, ear-piercing wail, its 100-meter-long body crashing heavily to the ground. Insta-kill, an absolute, undeniable insta-kill. The entire city erupted in deafening, earth-shaking cheers. There were even girls screaming that they wanted to marry me. But up on the cloud airship, Princess Mo Yi shot to her feet, her pupils flashing with an eerie purple light. She glared fiercely at my silhouette. A Skywalker? He actually has that legendary class? But what shocked her even more was when I summoned the Vermilion Bird. For the very first time, this arrogant elf princess showed genuine, unadulterated terror on her face. Is that the ancient Vermilion Bird? How could it possibly acknowledge a human as its master? Completely ignored the prying eyes up in the sky. After secretly devouring the Thunder Beast's soul, my soul experience skyrocketed, taking advantage of a brief lull in the monster siege. While taking out the mobs, I caught up with Ling Xiaoya and Shui Mo. With this crazy farming, my level rocketed to 122. Wave 30, a level 120 boss, the Metal Devourer, burst out of the ground. This thing can swallow steel, and with its insane defense, it's the absolute bane of Blue Star's structures. Shui Mo, keep up with the crowd control array. Vermilion Bird, roasted with your southern flame. I activated Storm Domain to draw its aggro, while Shui Mo used the 5-element array to lock it completely in place. Under the Vermilion Bird's unstoppable fire bombardment, the fully metallic Metal Devourer was melted right down into a puddle of molten iron. Quick on the draw, I snatched the Metal Devourer's glowing golden soul. As the soul energy surged into my body, I felt a massive boom in my mind. Soul experience full, breakthrough initiating. With the fall of the Wave 40 boss, my soul cultivation officially reached Tier 7. In that moment, I could feel an overwhelming surge of power from deep within my soul. Skywalker class stats went through another massive leap. Both attack stats broke straight through the 90,000 mark, and my movement speed was so fast you couldn't even catch an afterimage. What surprised me was that Shui Mo, a top-tier elementalist, was still stuck at Tier 1 of her soul cultivation. Haven't you ever tried absorbing a boss's soul? I asked her, confused. Souls are way too hard to catch. They vanish in a flash. Shui Mo's response left me completely speechless. It seems my godlike speed isn't just an epic combat skill. It's basically a cheat code for soul cultivation. To others, these fleeting spirits are impossible to pin down, but to me, they're just low-hanging fruit waiting to be picked. Up above the clouds, the White Elves' conspiracy was brewing. The Ice Kingdom's effeminate male elf, Arceus, was complaining to Princess Mo Yi with a twisted face. Your Highness, are we really going to let these blue star ants pass? If they survive this, according to the rules, Winter City will become a legitimate city-state in our kingdom, and even get voting rights in the council. Princess Mo Yi's eyes gleamed with an eerie purple light. She stared down at me, her heart filled with absolute shock. He broke through again, a tier 7 soul. Just what kind of monster is this man? To completely wipe out Winter City, Arceus actually jumped off the airship on his own accord, plotting to lure over even more terrifying monsters. Down below at Winter City, 8 despair-inducing bosses. When Wave 50 spawned, the whole city fell into dead silence. 2 level 130 bull demon bosses, plus 6 level 120 wind beast bosses. This wasn't a monster wave at all. This was an absolute slaughter. Shui Mo was trembling with rage. Ling Feng, those people in the sky are definitely playing dirty. They're ramping up the difficulty on purpose. I looked calmly at the swarm of bosses in the distance, my mind racing. Why weren't these powerful white elves attacking us themselves? Shui Mo, I've figured it out. There's some kind of invisible rule at play here. Since those invaders are restricted from attacking us directly, they have to use the monsters to do their dirty work. Since they refuse to play fair, there's no reason for us to blindly defend these walls. What are you going to do? Shui Mo asked, looking right at me. The best defense is a good offense, I said, my eyes turning cold. Get every formation master in the city out there to set up stronghold arrays outside the walls. We'll intercept them layer by layer. As for these bosses, leave them all to me. I leapt straight down from the top of the wall, charging head-on toward those 8 roaring behemoths. If it were anyone else, facing the legendary speed of the wind beasts would be a guaranteed death sentence. But in my eyes, they were way too slow. Star Energy Blast, 7-star Gathering, Storm Force Field. I darted through the pack of wind beasts like a bolt of white lightning. Backstab, Slide Tackle, Sand Toss. With my 90,000 dual attack power, combined with the terrifying boost of a +3 forbidden spell level, it only took one combo to take down a wind beast. Meanwhile, high up in the clouds, Arceus was frantically trying to lure out an even more terrifying entity from the depths. Ling Feng, let's see you survive this one. I'm going to drag the ruler of this territory right to you, the Flood Dragon King. Princess Mo Yi's face went completely pale. The Flood Dragon King was incredibly close to a first ascension, a terrifying demonic beast sitting at over level 150. If that thing came down here, Ice and Snow City wouldn't just be reduced to ashes. The situation in the entire Frost Kingdom would be plunged into absolute chaos.